And hello and welcome everyone to another installment of the Comic Multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. So happy to be back with you yet again, everyone, on this Sunday that I did not know was a Sunday because the quarantine confusion is really seeping into my brain now. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, I can imagine it's probably not good for a lot of people. I know here at Australia it's a little bit better since we just had our mask mandates lifted here.
Lucky you. We're extending quarantine and travel bans and everything else for another month here in Canada. And it's so funny. It's like, well, I did this before, like last year in March, and it didn't bother me in anything. But now that it's happening again, now I'm freaking out. And now I don't know what to do with myself. What the hell's different? I don't know, man.
It's pretty crazy that it has been like almost a year. Like it feels like it, but then also it doesn't feel like it as well.
I don't believe it in the slightest, and I'm also reminded too that I need to get a new air conditioner for the summer, and I'm like, shit, they might not have that if all the like supply lines go down and everything. Do I need to buy an air conditioner right now in February to make sure I have one?
Yeah, I think you probably do.
I probably freaking do, goddamn, because I really don't want to have to deal with a scenario wherein I can't go out because I might get sick and I'm hot on top of it. Because that's some real bullshit. I ain't doing that. Mm-mm. Not in this life. So, how's your week been, all things considered, Matt?
Pretty good, pretty good.
That's
I managed to I like sat down. I had like a lot of free time this week, so I like sat down and like watched a bunch of like movies and TV shows that I'd been meaning to watch, and I finished like a
nice.
bunch of seasons. I watched a great film called Psycho Gorman, which I want everyone in the chat to go and watch. It's
Yeah,
basically
I saw
if you
that advertised.
yeah if you take Turbo Man and Power Rangers and make it a hard B movie horror.
Fucking sold. You sold me.
There's even Power Rangers like fights in it.
Do they fight in a quarry, though?
They don't. They fight in a woods.
Fair enough. Not everyone can have a quarry. I feel you. And thank you, Kravashi, whatever it is. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you.
Always appreciated. You see, they got to have speech to text, so I actually know what these names are sometimes.
I could probably add that, but I'd rather not, just because I know how
Yeah,
people abuse it.
sure do. Yeah, we'll be getting Seymour Butts and IP freely. He's for getting all the warriors, all the great defenders of the Twitch stream. Yeah, my week was fairly unexciting there. What did I do? I watched the new episode of Law and Order. They did a very delayed Burt Kavanaugh episode, so that was kind of fun. Where it's like, yeah, you guys clearly got delayed, didn't you? That you're only getting around to this now.
Yeah, it's funny coming and like watching like because like a bunch of new shows started like this last couple of weeks, and it's cool. You can tell
Yeah.
like oh these were filmed like either just
Mm.
before the pandemic hit or like in the opening stages. You can tell.
I've also been enjoying that series there. I think it's on like TBS and TNT and a bunch of other channels in the States. The Go Big Show. Have you seen this?
I haven't no.
It's a talent show, and I know like American and British talent shows usually suck because it's always singing and dancing and stuff I couldn't give a shit about. This is who can do the most extreme stunts. So they've got like archers and guys doing basketball from convertibles and dudes wrangling snakes and shit.
That sounds cool.
It is. It's pretty fun. I enjoy this. I am interested in this. And again, this was the first episode where someone like really fucked up their extreme stunt. It was a guy who's like, yeah, I can sink a dunk from anywhere, even in this convertible, and he fucked it up like a couple of the times, but he got it back. So that was all right. I'm also in the process of rewatching Spectacular Spider-Man again because it's back on Canadian Netflix, and I didn't mean to restart watching it. I'm like, oh, I'll have this on in the background while I do some work. Couple hours pass by. God damn it, I'm halfway into season one. Shit, I guess I'm just rewatching this now.
I did that. I did that recently with the on Netflix. They've got a Japanese series called Junon Origins. It's like The
Oh
Grudge. It's like a
yeah,
TV show of that, and like the origins
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
And I did this exact same. I like put it on in the background, and I'm like, wait, no, this is actually really interesting, and it's like really fucked up, and like I'm gonna watch this all.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched a good horror anything. And yes, as the chat brings up WandaVision, yes, that's right. We also watched WandaVision this week, and it was
Yeah,
very good.
it was so dope.
And we'll be sure to talk about that as well, because I'm sure we have many more theories and ideas now, and we can milk this for all that it's worth now. Also, hey, if you're one of those new people who started listening on iTunes and our SoundCloud, thank you. That is now getting over 1,000 views a week now, which was never the case before.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know who spread the word and who's doing that, but appreciated. Matt and I don't actually get any extra money if you listen to it on SoundCloud or anything, but that helps me in negotiation with ad people and everything. And in fact, I'm getting more ad interest than I have in the last little bit.
Yeah, we're getting clout.
We're getting clout. Now, how can I abuse this clout is the question. And, hey, speaking of which, before we actually head on into the news topics, this is probably a good as time as any to thank our sponsors and to do our whole, what I hope will be a recurring segment now, where we pay the bills and keep the lights on here at the Comic Multiverse offices. Starting off, I want to give a big, hearty thank you to Wild Bill's Craft Soda. Obviously, I talked about them last week, and hey, if you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, they actually sent me a wonderful care package. I have a very, very nice bottle of 6-shooter sarsaparilla in front of me right now, getting all those good Fallout New Vegas friggin' memories in there. And here, let me get that right. Oh, yeah, right there into the mic, so you know it's good.
That good ASMR.
Oh, yeah. Oh, get that mukbangable content now, everybody. Shit, I haven't done that yet, but I still could, everyone. Who wants to see Joel mukbang it up in here? This stuff is really good because it's craft, because it's made in barrels and small batches and everything. It's sweet and it's tasty, but it's not like tooth-rottingly sweet like a lot of soda is.
Mm-hmm.
It feels refined, and it's got cool artwork and everything on it. Feels very Wild West. I dig it. And if you head over to wildbills.com right now, got the link down in the description, and use the promo code CapeJoel, all one word, you get 10% off. This is the sort of stuff we all used to enjoy at conventions and rock concerts and outdoor events. We can't do that right now, but you can bring the taste of it home with you, and I think that's pretty sweet.
That's great.
Yeah, they sent me a bunch of stuff, so be sure to check them out. They've been super cool with us, and they're actually giving us a really good split, which I'm not used to when it comes to sponsors. So literally, for everything you buy over there, you're actually helping me and Matt out, so that's much appreciated. But that's not the only thing we got this week. We actually have a musical act that bought some ad time on the show. It's the band Cage, but it's spelled K-A-A-J-E. They're a DIY rock ensemble from Waterloo, Ontario. So actually not too far from me at all. You know, they combine rock guitar with violin, some haunting vocals, and they have a brand new album out right now on Destroyed Driskid. Again, I don't know the music apps. I'm very uncool. It's called Building Coffins for My Kids, which, man, what a title. You know what I like about that title, Matt? You hear that once, you're never going to forget it.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's good. So, yeah, you can check them out right now, too. I'll be sure to link you down in the description. They seem like a really good group of dudes. And, hey, just because, you know, they don't seem nerdy, they have promised me that they very much are, and drop some cool references to stuff that I think the fan base would definitely like there. They have a Bandcamp too, so I'll be sure to link all of that down in the description so you can check those guys out. And thank you, for those guys for reaching out to me. As always, if you have a creative project, and I know the Comic Multiverse fan base has some truly amazing creators out there in their ranks. If you ever have anything you want to promote, drop me a line on any of my socials and we'll work something out.
Yeah, I'm also trying to work something out with Audible as well.
Hey, yes, there you go.
But we'll see about that. They saying that they give like sponsors to literally anyone.
Apparently they do. Like, I know some people mentioned like a gamer energy drink company and everything, but hey, I don't need them because I got this. No, really, I have this, and they are the official drink sponsor of the Comic Multiverse now in writing.
Yeah. Tevye, you know how the show works. We're gonna get to it. We've got to get through this other stuff first.
You can feel his impatientness some way. What about now? What about now? We're getting there. Don't make us turn the podcast around and go home, because we will turn this whole show around and talk about nothing for an hour and a half. Also, hey, we also have another interview this week. I'm talking to Jason Inman again, and I didn't fuck it up like the Jim Zub interview from last week.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Yeah, it actually sounded good, and I didn't fuck it up. So be sure to stick around for that as well, everyone. During the mid part of the show, we talk about everything. We talk about his new Kickstarter. We talk about Lost and the Muppet Show. It's great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we were just talking about whatever. So I guess with that, we can hop into the first actual official news story of the week. And Matt was very good to remind me of this one because, again, as I said, my mind is turning solely to mush in quarantine, and I don't remember what is even anything anymore. But we got a very cool trailer this week, didn't we, Matt?
Well, yeah, we got a couple of cool trailers, but I know the one you're talking about.
Yes, the one that is most pertinent to our interest. And as the biggest Superman fan I know, I'm going to let you take point on this.
Yeah, so we got a surprise Superman and Lois trailer. Well, I say surprise, though it was coming because the show's a month away. And yeah, it's completely different to what I thought it was going to look like and be like.
Yeah.
It's,
I think we expected it to look way more CW.
Yeah, this one looks... I think it's got a little bit of money from HBO Max put into it. It kind of looks like it does. And I know, like, I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, how the VFX team on it is, like, the same one from, like, Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Loki and all that. So there's a little bit of money behind it.
They're shooting it like a real movie and not just a CW TV show.
No. And it might also have to do because it's like 13 episodes long. So it's like they've got a little bit more budget per episode.
Which, again, as much as I love The Flash and everything, they do stretch those out for 26 when they really don't need to.
No, they don't, absolutely. Hopefully this might be the changing point where they realize, hey, let's do 13 episodes a season. Make it better.
Yeah, we can definitely hope so.
But yeah, it looks really awesome.
It does. It looks really different. I mean, obviously, we finally get to see Superman's two kids, John and Jordan, who were alluded to at the end of the big Crisis thing when we found out that Superman had not one kid but two. And yeah, they're already angsty teenagers keeping in the CW mold.
You gotta have that. They had to have that.
Oh, no. No doubt. Also, as someone pointed out to me, it's like, okay, so John makes a lot of sense because, John was Superman's dad, good all-American name and everything. Why Jordan? And someone on Twitter made a very good point. They're like, well, because it sounds vaguely Kryptonian. Jordan. Oh, yeah.
Well, also, it's his son, I suppose son in Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow?
Okay.
I think there is a Jordan Kent somewhere out there. I just can't remember which story it was. It was like an old story.
Right. Now, I wonder, too, because obviously we know John Kent's full name and the importance of it. Jonathan Samuel Kent, because, General Sam Lane. There you get the Lane family connection. What do you think Jordan's middle name is going to be?
I
Martha.
Don't say that name.
Never say that name. Across the multiverse. Never say it.
Could name him after Perry.
Yeah, that'd be fun too. Yeah, Jordan Perry Kent. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he doesn't even have a middle name.
You were the least favorite son. You don't get a middle name. You think too, obviously, with having two kids, that the show will probably dip into like some Cain and Abel type scenarios.
I think it will. Yeah, it has to.
Cameron says Jimmy. Yeah, Jordan Jimmy Kent.
Or it'll be James.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah, Jordan James Kent. That's not bad at all. Yeah, Christopher, like Christopher Reeves. Yeah, that's not bad either, actually. Name him after an actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it looks really cool. They don't tell us a lot about the story, but I mean, really, what more of a pitch do you need than, hey, it's Superman and Lois moving back to Middle America trying to raise two kids as they struggle with superpowers and everything.
Yeah, well, I don't know if these kids are going to actually have powers. They don't allude to that at all.
I mean, you figure you have to go there at some point, right?
Well, I think, like, to go with the Cain and Abel stuff, I think one is going to have powers and the other one isn't, and that one's going to be jealous and whatnot.
Interesting. Oh, I like that, actually, and maybe that kid starts to use his mind a little bit more and starts going into a Lex Luthor-esque direction.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun, actually. I like that a lot, because it's like, hey, so much of the fun of those Tomasi stories when John was first really introduced is like, you could go one of two ways, kids. You could either be a savior of this world or its ultimate destroyer. Now imagine if you had two kids, so now double the chance of fucking it up. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff they could go with there. And that show's actually coming on sooner than we thought because the Flash season premiere had to get delayed. So we're getting like a 2-hour premiere for this.
Yeah, well, we're getting a 90-minute premiere, and then the rest is like a behind the scenes, sort of like what they did at the end of Arrow.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. I can't wait.
Yeah, it looks good. Comes in less than a month. And just before that as well, I think we've got Black Lightning, which comes out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, for its big final season.
Yeah.
For this new Superman show, I'm sure we talked about this in other episodes, but what villains do you think we could see brought into this show? Because it feels like Supergirl did most of the big Superman villains, didn't it?
Well, yes, but also we're now post-crisis, so like they could easily rewrite it so that all these villains never went with Supergirl. They're now with Superman. We could get General Zod back. We could have Bizarro. I don't know. I think the first season, or at least the first couple of episodes, are going to be with an alternate Earth Lex Luthor.
Right. Okay.
Who I think is Doom Guy in the trailer.
Mm-hmm. Are there any villains that Supergirl didn't do that Superman could do, or did they just end up doing everything over its run?
They did like all the pretty big ones. That's the thing. They did all the pretty big ones. Metallo, right. Parasite, Cyborg, Superman.
Livewire.
Yeah, Livewire. Mixel, really Spitlick.
Yeah, dang. Wow, they really did do everyone. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like they can't even do smaller villains because it's like, what about the Gambler? Yeah, Stargirl actually did the Gambler. Which, honestly, I'm fine with that guy making a cameo because I love that guy.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, someone said Mongol. Yeah, did they do Mongol on Supergirl?
No, not at all.
Okay, maybe we could do a little Mongol War World thing if they wanted.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's definitely a place they could to have a guy who's like, here's a Darkseid like villain who's not Darkseid.
Yeah, we could maybe see Darkseid. I wouldn't put him past it.
No, I mean everything is seemingly on the table.
I mean,
now.
we've had Darkseid on the CW before.
Yeah, right. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And saying, yeah, if they did Darkseid on TV, that would really piss off the Snyder cultists. Yeah, no doubt.
Just because it would be a bit more comic accurate.
Yeah. I know everyone loved the Lobo that was on that Krypton show. Yeah. Wouldn't it be fun if we got him back?
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, he was fantastic.
Yeah, that was like one of the things that even now people still remember.
Even the Brainiac on that show was awesome.
Brainiac did look really good on that show. Do they still have those costumes? Can they just bring the costumes back so they don't have to make new ones? I always wonder what happens with that. Do they burn the costumes? Do they sell them off? What do they do?
I'm sure they're probably with some collector or in some warehouse or something.
Agreed, Jaden. The Elite would be good. I know they did Manchester Black on Supergirl, but the other members of the Elite would work really well.
Yeah, they would.
Atomic Skull, also good monster of the week, who they could actually end up doing more with, as they've actually done a fair amount with his character.
Yeah, make him a sympathetic villain like they did in the comics.
I like it a lot. So yeah, there's Superman and Lois coming sooner than we thought, and boy, it looks good. I can't wait for this.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
I'm excited for Tyler Hoechlin. I always say his name wrong, and people always give me shit about it.
Generation West will tell us.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Our official, unofficial pronunciation expert. Tyler McSuperman, that guy. Boy, I love that he has really gotten the shot to become this generation Superman, and that it didn't come from movies, it came from TV.
Yeah, and it looks like, they're actually giving him a shot to do it. Like, they've got the money and everything behind it. They're not skimping out on it, which for once is something that they're actually doing right.
And I mean, I think we can all agree that the world could use some more Superman now than ever before.
Absolutely.
Alrighty then. So moving on from there, we got some news from the world of comics, and there was a big social media blitz this week for a new thing that Marvel was coming out with in the not so distant future. And this new thing sounded like a very familiar thing. It was Heroes Reborn, Matt.
Yeah. You say new, but it was really just old.
In fact, it was old on several fronts. So Heroes Reborn, obviously, of course, was the big story back in the day when Marvel wasn't doing so hot, when everyone was loving the X-Men, but they didn't know what to do with the Avengers and all their characters. So they're like, oh, we know what we'll do. We'll let Image write them. Image is big. Image is great and cool with the kids, and everyone will love it. But they didn't, because they all totally sucked, and then they had to have the big Heroes Return story where they brought them back after sending them away. And everyone, when they saw this new Heroes Reborn, they're like, oh god, what the fuck are they gonna do now? And I'll admit, I had several theories that ended up being way more interesting than what they actually did.
Yeah, that I was watching your theories, and I had a couple of my own, and yeah, ours was just a little bit more interesting than this.
Yeah, wow, we were cork bordering it all over the place. Like, no, see, Heroes Reborn is actually talking about the Ultimate Universe. This is Donny Cates' new project that he's been building up to. We're finally going to get to see them reborn, and they're using the name in the same way, they used, what is it, freaking Infinity War, not Infinity War, but for the end of the big Hickman Avengers run. Why am I blanking on this right now?
It was called Infinity? Or Secret Wars?
Secret Wars. In the same way they use Secret Wars, they're going to use Heroes Reborn. Ooh, or maybe Heroes Reborn is referring to the X-Men who have been able to cheat death because of the Five. Maybe they start bringing back other heroes and other characters through that, and that's going to be part of the Reign of X. Actually, no, none of it's true. We're just doing Warped again, where we fuse heroes and villains together to tell stories.
You know what this is? This is, whatever happened to that goddamn... Remember, they had, like, before COVID, there was that thing. What was it called? Infinities or something?
Oh, yeah.
That's just this. I guarantee you that's just this.
I guess Infinities didn't come out.
Never came. I remember they, like, advertised it for a little bit, and then it just, like, went away.
Infinities never came out, but Star from the Captain Marvel, isn't she involved? Isn't she one of the Infinities because she absorbed a stone? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah. They had like that whole story in, was it Marvel Comics 1000, where they had the Masquerader and everything, but they had that one guy who was in control. He was like a death row criminal in control of the Time Stone and
escape.
all these people, and nothing happened. War of the Realms and King in Black.
Yeah, we had so many other stories we had to get to. Empire.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically we're doing Amalgam Comics again, but without the DC characters. So we got what looks to be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury, if he got mixed with Mr. Fantastic, because, they got, like, similar salt and pepper hair.
And he's wearing a lab coat, which means he's smart.
Yeah, he's Dr. Agent S.H.I.E.L.D. Then we got the Juggernaut and Dr. Doom, because, Crimson Stones of Cyttorak and everything.
Yeah.
And what looks to be, I think, Thanos, but instead of Infinity Stones, he's got the 10 Infinity Rings a la the Mandarin.
Yeah.
And what looks to be Scarlet Witch and Jean Grey, and a new version of Alpha Flight. Okay.
Yeah. It's I mentioned it to our friend Kirk, how it's like whenever Marvel announce something, it's always like it's like a wet fart. It's like a nothing. Yeah. But like, and then you compare it to like what DC, when DC announces something, they always go big into it, and it's like exciting and everything. And I'm like, why don't they ever do that with this? They just like, here's a logo. Yeah, that's it.
You know what it is? It's complacency. We're on top right now. We know we're putting out better books, so it doesn't fucking matter what we do. But yeah, this was an underwhelming reveal, especially because we had a couple hours to think of way more interesting things this could be.
Yeah, I mean, it could be good, but like the way they're going about revealing it, it's just like, we had this before, not too long ago.
I believe it was Cheryl Lynn Eaton. She's a commentator for the comic book scene on Twitter. She described this and Clone Saga back to back, and this weird new tactic that Marvel has taken when it comes to trying to hype up and promote stuff. She called it strife marketing, where it's like, hey, here's a thing you remember not really liking, so we're going to lead with this, let you get all freaked out, and then be like, nah, it's not that bad.
Yeah, people are going to hate by it.
Yeah, like hate buy. See, I don't even want to hate buy this because I didn't even hate buy Warps. I'm like, oh, that's a cool idea, but it's no Amalgam, and even Amalgam wasn't that good. Like, these are fun images, but I don't really care to read the stories. Especially because it's like, I'm enjoying reading your books now, Marvel, because by and large, they were better than what DC was doing pre-Future State.
Yeah.
And even then, Future State is in this funny situation where it's like, man, some of these are really good. Oh, they're stopping after 2 months?
Yeah. Well, are they though? Because there's a lot of stuff that's coming over, and again, the whole thing is like a test run to see, okay, what do we bring over after the first month?
And it's going to be really easy to save the stuff you like because a lot of the creative teams that are writing this book are going to go and write the monthly equivalent.
Yep.
So I'm sure it would be a very easy flip to switch on there to be like, oh, okay, you wanted some of this Future State stuff? Well, we'll be sure to bring it in then.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Heroes Reborn. It's something. Boy, I hope this isn't a line-wide thing. I hope this doesn't interrupt books I'm reading.
Kind of feel it's been a while since we had a line wide, so I kind of feel like it might be, because even like Empire wasn't a line wide or anything.
No, it wasn't.
Like what was the last one, like Secret Empire?
No, not even that. It was War of Realms was kind of line wide.
Yeah, I guess so.
There was a lot of times that, and I guess King in Black is kind of line wide, but not really, because they've got a bunch of special standalone minis, and you can ignore a lot of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, they made books up for that event. It's not like, you know, Amazing Spider-Man isn't stopping its last Remains story to get involved, and Iron Man's not stopping it, and
In fact, I am ignoring most of the King in Black times. I'm reading Venom and King in Black. And probably Spider-Man, because it's going to be, or Miles Morales Spider-Man, because it's going to be doing a time. But by and large, I'm just reading those, and I feel perfectly fine with it.
I read some of the times. I read the Planet of the Symbiote one, and it's just like an anthology with some stuff that screams in it. That's it. See,
again, it's like Donny Cates' Venom is so good because it's so self-contained within its own pages, and it doesn't go all over the place. So it's almost a little, when it comes time to do a big event, it's like, well, no, it's not meant to be that. It's very, very interesting. And yeah, there's Heroes Reborn for you, everyone. It's a thing. And actually that dovetails super nicely to a story about Donny Cates' Venom, which we discovered this week is actually going to be ending at issue number 200.
Yeah, issue 200, which is apparently going to be 90 pages long.
Yes, in April, we're going to be getting this. And also, hey, nice job with the cover, guys, that essentially seeks to spoil the end of King in Black.
I mean, it's a cover.
It is a cover, and also, I mean, come on, we all basically knew it was going that way anyway. Eddie is going to win. He will sit on Null's throne and become the new Null, essentially, and what will that mean? There was actually a really nice article attached to this where Donny Cates, you know, actually talked a lot about how much he loved Jason Aaron's Thor run and how much, you know, he really, didn't envy the guy who came in next to write after Aaron was done after a decade. And it's like, but wait, Donny, wasn't that you? Weren't you that guy? Yes, I was.
And hey, for like all that he's done, it's like pretty matched up well with Aaron's stuff. Like it's the same sort of tone and everything, and yeah, it's great.
Took him an arc to get started, but once he did, it was really good. And he basically says, yeah, we're done our story at 200. We didn't want to, you know, keep going after we had told, you know, our organic story and that it had reached its proper end. But don't worry, because I'm sure they'll get someone equally as good to keep writing.
Oh, I wonder if this means this is the end for his, like the grand story he's been telling with like the Marvel Cosmic stuff, from like Guardians to Inhumans to this to Thor and everything.
Well, he did also say he has another big book starting soon, so I doubt that. I think that's going to keep going.
He's got to be bringing back the Inhumans.
Somewhere along the line, yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, he was the one who, quote-unquote, killed them off, so yeah.
Cyborg Soldier says Matthew Rosenberg for Venom. Yeah, I dig that.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'd read that. I'd dig the shit out of that. Actually, Matthew Rosenberg on Twitter was basically saying there, hey, so when that Moon Knight show comes back, right, it's going to be a pretty big deal to relaunch the Moon Knight comic. And, you know, he's a Jewish hero. I'm one of the more prominent Jewish writers at Marvel right now. Just saying, like, but he was basically auditioning for the job. Like, hey, guys, I got Moon Knight pitches. And all I could think is like, hey, Matt, if I was in charge, you'd be the first on my list for a number of reasons. Someone saying Tom Taylor Venom. Nah, I think Tom Taylor's a little busy with all his new Batman stuff and everything else he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got to work on Deceased 4, because even though Deceased ended this week and was pretty solid, there's definitely a lot of like sequel hooks.
Oh yeah.
Do we want to talk about that now, actually? Because we probably won't get a chance to do a big what we read this week sequence. But yeah, Deceased had an end.
It did. Oh, it had, yeah, an end to some of its storylines, some of the more bigger storylines.
The zombie plague, they dealt with that.
Yeah, they dealt with that and dealt with Trigon and the Amazos.
Yeah, which, you know, was pretty solid. There was a really, really great character piece for Constantine, who basically comes full circle.
Yeah, and the one thing I really enjoy is they didn't give him an out, because like he does something like this, you think, oh, he's gonna have a trick up his sleeve, he's gonna have made a deal with someone and he'll get a new body or something. No, he's like proper dead.
Sure is. And he goes out like a hero, though, and like, you know, a guy who spent so much of his life screwing other people over, but only at the end does he figure out to be the most selfless person in the world.
Yeah, and honestly, he with prep time, he's rivaling Batman for the Bat God's trophy.
He had the most prep time. Literally 90% of Dead Planet was just him prepping for the final fight.
Yeah, every piece he got mattered in some way.
He prepped like a motherfucker, and in the end, he won. Fun. Someone said, wouldn't it be funny if Jason, Aaron, and Donny Cates switched, where it's like, okay, you write Thor, and now I'll write Venom. That would be really funny. Has Jason Aaron ever written for Venom before? That seems like a no-brainer. I know he's written for Wolverine. So. He's written for a lot of those characters.
No, I don't think he has. I think he's written Venom in some of his other books, but... yeah.
Someone's saying it's only a matter of time before Donny Cates takes a crack at Spider-Man. Yeah, I could see that. When Spencer's done, I could see him having a run.
Yeah. I'd like to see him do some DC stuff.
Yeah, same. Yeah, is he exclusive? Is he on an exclusive contract?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems to be really entrenched in the fan. It's hard to keep track with all the contractual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Venom comes to an end at 200. Sad to see it go as early as April, but nice to know that they're not going to extend this past, you know, the story that they had.
Yeah, they're not milking it.
No. You know what? It's also probably great, too, because Donny Cates is like, hey, we want you to come on in and write this Venom book because we need it to coincide with the Tom Hardy movie. Do whatever you want. Be crazy. Tell whatever story you want. And he tells this, and it's great, and everyone loves Eddie Brock, even people who hated Eddie Brock like me. And now he's checking out at issue 200. Oh, cool, now my hands are clean and don't have to do anything to coincide with the sequel to the Venom movie when it comes out. Man, Donny Cates is the smartest man in all of comics.
What you're saying, Donny Cates made COVID to delay the Venom film so he could finish his book, so he couldn't do another tie-in to that movie.
Yes, that's the twist of 2021. Donny Cates, the creator and originator of COVID. That was the secret of virus. It wasn't really Matt Gargan in that War Machine armor. It was actually COVID.
It was all symbolism.
It was all symbolism, and we didn't get it until now, but now we do. And boy, do we feel smarter for it. Hey, I was talking about the Tom Hardy Venom movie that actually dovetails incredibly nicely with our next story, because it's all about comic movie delays, Matt, something we're becoming all too familiar with.
Yeah, every month there's another new delay.
Another new delay, and we got two big ones that I'm sure will interest fans here. Jared Leto's Morbius is pushed back all the way to 2022. I'm sorry for all you rabid... I know, all you rabid Morbius fans out there, you're going to have to wait with bated breath.
all three of you.
All three of you will be very sad this Christmas, and I'm apologizing. I know we promised Morbius for Christmas, but we just can't. We just have to delay. We just cannot deliver all the Morbius that we promised. And, you know, obviously Jared Leto is crushed too, you know, from his sex island where he lives with his cult.
Oh, he hasn't even heard about it yet.
Oh, God, no.
The boat that delivers the news only comes every 2 weeks.
When Tom Hanks comes on horseback to the island to read the news of the world to the cult because they still think it's like 1682. This can't possibly be good, right? And people still cannot be clamoring for this after all the push. But I bet people forgot that this was even a thing and that this is even connected to Venom.
Oh, I'm sure people forget about it, and people will forget about it until it comes out, and then they will forget about it immediately.
And like clearly the powers that be aren't really interested in keeping people abreasted of it, because it's like you got one trailer, then nothing.
Yeah, we got that one trailer that spoiled everything in the film.
Yes. I think Michael Keaton remembers that he was in this. For a second that they dragged him out of bed at gunpoint and said, we'll get something for Morbius or else. And then he's like, oh, fuck this. I'm going to go be old Batman again.
Yeah, and probably the new Batman.
Maybe the new Batman, too. Movies in Hollywood are so weird. The more we talk about it, the more I'm just like, what is even anything anymore? So there, the stupid vampire movie is delayed for a little longer. Please don't see this and have this be another $1 billion franchise like you did.
Oh, you
Venom.
know it will.
Every day, I cannot believe that Venom made $1 billion. I really can't.
Is that an Eminem song or whatever it was that did it?
Yeah, it really pushed it over the edge. It was Tom Hardy doing all his own sweating stunts.
Yeah, sweating and eating lobsters.
Yeah, we did a commentary for that, and I do not remember anything I said during it.
I know we talked about how much he sweats through the whole film because it's very, very, very in your face.
Very profusely, just buckets of it. And another movie that got pushed back again, which I think by the time this is said and done, this one may actually be a contender for the most pushbacks of all. Black Widow is getting pushed back to May.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Pretty surprising, too, because you think that Disney, if they were going to cave, they would have caved by now and been like, "Now we're just putting it on the app. We're just putting it on Disney Plus." But maybe now that they have WandaVision, they don't care. They're like, "Look, you're watching stuff from us. We're good."
Well, yeah, I think that is definitely a part of it because they've got that, and they've got then like Falcon and Winter Soldier coming after that, and then I think Loki not long after that. So it's like they're good for a couple of months and can probably stretch it out for a little bit more because we've got Mandalorian and all these other shows and everything starting.
And when we finally get a chance to go back to movie theaters, I'm sure they will love to be the people to be like, hey, bet you missed seeing Avengers movies in theaters. Well, guess what? We have an Avengers Marvel movie right here, everybody. Go see it.
Absolutely.
See it twice, actually. Take the whole family. Take Grandma, who didn't die of the COVID. She'll love it the most. It'll be great. It's so funny, too, to see like something like Black Widow, a movie that took them so long to make, is the one that's getting the most delays.
Yeah, well, yeah, again, it's just bad luck.
It really is. The worst luck, some might say. But yeah, it would be interesting that, and I know I've theorized this before, that if they do pick the perfect time to release it, if they sit on it just long enough, it'll actually probably end up being a bigger success than it might have been before if it was released in just a normal year.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, you're keeping people like hungry for it.
Yeah. It's like, hey, it's the last Avengers movie before, the world went to shit. Gotta see it. Now, what else did we have here? Ooh, so here's a fun piece of news, too. Not about something that got delayed, but something that's actually coming out soon. They dropped some clips this week for Invincible, the brand new superhero animated show from Amazon. And we're apparently getting 3 episodes this March.
Yeah, March 26th. Same day as Godzilla vs. Kong and I think Monster Hunter Rise. And it's a big day that day.
Big day commemorating March when the world went to hell last year. Yeah, isn't that some shit? Yeah, I remember still where it's like, March break's going to be a little weird this year with the COVID and everything. But I'm sure they'll have this under control soon enough. And they didn't. And I'm still here right now, everyone. But at least we got Invincible, and at least it looks good. We got to hear the whole voice cast there, see the animation, and it looks great.
It looks great. J.K. Simmons, man.
Just killing it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. It looks really great.
It does. It looks really good. And Amazon, man, just going from strength to strength with their superhero content. From The Boys to this now, they're making all the right choices. They might not have the Marvel and DC IP, but they're picking the good stuff and putting the right money and people behind it.
Well, that's it. They've proven you don't need to have those brands to make like something really profitable and cool.
Yeah, that people want superheroes. They want stories they haven't seen before, and we're going to give it to them.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely down for that. Yeah, color me excited for Invincible. And also, I guess I'll need to actually start reading more Invincible. I read like the first volume, and I'm like, oh, this is good.
It's all finished, isn't it?
It is, yeah, I think it is. So I can actually go back and read the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out and maybe do some video content on it. Lord willing, maybe by March, it'll have calmed down a little bit that I can actually work in more animated superhero content to the channel, because I know people loved my Harley and Young Justice videos.
Awesome.
So here's hoping that I can do the same for this. So yeah, I guess with that out of the way, we want to talk about some books we read this week before I throw on over to our interview segment.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, wouldn't be right if we didn't talk about Future State, because there was so much Future State going on this week.
There was. This was our third big week.
Yep, third week.
Yeah.
I had 4 Future State books that I looked at this week.
I'm pretty sure I had 4, maybe a bit more. I'm trying to do them all. I'm like 2 behind.
I'm sure we read the same ones too, but I'll let you decide where would you like to start.
Well, while it's fresh in my mind, since I just recently reviewed it, let's talk about the next Batman, issue 2.
Yeah. Next Batman here. We're actually getting to see Jace Fox as a detective, and he is no Bruce Wayne, understandably.
He's no Bruce Wayne, but then his Batman isn't usually like a normal Batman. He's dealing with slightly harder edged crimes like rapists and child predators.
Not only here, but in the Nightwing book too.
Yeah.
I don't know who decided that Jace Fox's raison d'etre was going to be sex crimes and it was going to be Batman's Special Victims Unit, but apparently that is like his trademark crime to fight.
And I wonder if maybe that has something to do with Tim. Like maybe there is something in his past that has to do with something, like, because he seems rather focused on that sort of stuff.
Very much so. We have not gotten his origin yet. In fact, we probably won't get his origin in Future State, because John Ridley's coming back with the next Batman title that looks to be the actual canonical origin.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if we find out later where it's like, yeah, Tim actually got like molested at some point and that's why this is like such a major bugbear for him, we're like, whoa, that's actually pretty brave and pretty ballsy to have like a superhero also be a survivor of like sex crime himself.
Yeah, it would be absolutely an intriguing place to take him, because again, it like differentiates him from the other Batman and their threats and their villains and the evils they fight. Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, you saw your parents murdered before your eyes. Hey, Bruce, guess what? We all have our own traumas. It's not a fucking contest.
It also like because we haven't gotten that thing that's like, well, why is he Batman? Like, what's like we understand why like Bruce Wayne was Batman, why Dick Grayson was Batman, but we don't understand why he decided to pick up the cow.
Oh yeah, they haven't answered that question, or even what his relationship was to superheroes before the Magistrate took over and everything. Yeah, and why he chooses to hide his face.
We do know he was in like the army. And like, yeah, there was some turmoil that happened within the family. That's about it.
Yeah. Which actually, this issue, we actually get to spend quite a fair amount of time with Luke and Jace's mom as she talks like policy and legalese with Mayor Nakano, who is still the mayor from the Detective Comics book.
And unlike his Detective Comics character, he seems like corrupt as fuck.
Yeah, I know, right? Like in the Detective Comics, where it's like, well, he's not a bad guy. He has some like real hardline thoughts about superheroes, but you understand why he thinks that way. But yeah, you're right. Here, he's just a scumbag 24/7.
Yeah, he wants to bend the rules for the Magistrate and bend the laws. And I love that talk with Tanya about the laws. How like she compares it with like, well, a cop can like pull a pistol on the Joker and Punchline and everything because it's like lesser or equal like violence and stuff, whereas the Magistrate are like using goddamn dragon's breath shotguns and depleted uranium rounds against like pickpocketers.
Yeah, it's great too because they're having this argument about the ethics of the Magistrate operating in Gotham City, and none of them are saying that it's wrong what they're doing. They're all very pro-Magistrate and anti-superhero. But Tanya's problem is where it's like, oh, but they might be able to get out of it, though, if, like, any of this actually went to court and if, like, the Magistrate left anybody alive.
Yeah, again, she's writing this great line between, like, a protagonist and antagonist, where she's like, she wants to uphold the law, but she's also going up against her and son and, like, her family and everything.
Magistrate is not a person, Tevia. The Magistrate is a group.
Yeah.
Which actually we learn a little bit more about that in Nightwing this week. We actually get to see who Peacekeeper 1 is under the mask.
Yeah, and I have a theory about who that might be. It because we don't actually know who they are or anything, but I know they recently died in Batgirl, but I think it might be James Gordon Jr.
He does have the red hair, and he's fucking around with a name plaque that belonged to Renee Montoya.
See that, and how the story is about like how Dick, like, he feels like he let down his father and everything because he wasn't there with Bruce, and I feel like, yeah, how it could be James Jr. because it's like he feels like he let down his father, and like he doesn't seem very happy that someone else is commissioner, and it would be like a pretty cool thing with like the son of Batman and the son of James Gordon fighting each other.
Yeah. We never do hear his name either. He's just called Peacekeeper 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Batman book is cool because, yeah, we get to see Jace try and solve a mystery and how he's completely different than Bruce. He also doesn't have all the tech and gadgets to help him out because the magistrate is like watching that stuff.
Yeah, tracking his phones and tech and everything, so he's got to be very lo-fi.
Yeah, lo-fi Batman, which in and of itself is kind of interesting, especially for a future that's all the more high-tech.
Yeah.
And to contrast and compare, because, we mentioned Nightwing, I guess we should talk about that too. Jace Fox actually shows up in the Nightwing book.
Yeah, and does like kind of like the most un-Batman thing ever, and that is ask for help.
Yes, I know. I loved that. And like, even Dick is taken aback by that. He's like, well, what Batman asked for help? And of course, because, it's a dark future, Nightwing, he's a little grimmer, a little grittier, the fact of which the magistrate even call him on.
Yeah, he's overcompensating because there's no Batman around.
Blames himself for Bruce's death, though they never exactly say how or why he blames himself for it.
That was my only problem with that book. I wish it went into more about that and it expanded on that a little bit more, because it's just like a one-off scene.
Where it's like, what, were you supposed to meet him the night he was supposedly shot? It's also kind of interesting, too, because the magistrate knows full well that Bruce is alive. They're just using the fact that no one else knows to their advantage.
Yeah, they're using the fact that the family, the Bat family, or the Resistance is like a splintered faction, and they can't work together because of how well the magistrate tracked them and everything. So yeah, they're using like misdirection and tricks and everything, which is pretty cool.
It is. It's a nice way to set that up, because we've seen so many stories of superheroes going underground and forming resistance movements and everything. It's nice to see this play differently. Also, that it's Barbara who says that they should reach out to this new Batman and have him come join their team.
Yeah.
But obviously Dick doesn't want to do it because he's distrustful of this new Batman, because he's still filled with shame about what happened to Bruce.
Yeah. I did like that he didn't like this wasn't a story where it's like, oh, Nightwing's gonna fight the new Batman because he's angry someone is Batman. He's just like, yeah, new Batman, it's cool. I don't really agree with you, but yeah.
It's cool too that he's operating out of Arkham, and that he's basically set it up as an ambush place for the magistrate, that he's just gonna like get them in Arkham. That's fun.
Yeah, where apparently it all begun on A-Day.
Yes, they keep referencing A-Day, but we don't know what that is yet. I wonder what book will ultimately explain that to us.
Yeah, we'll get it in like a Batman book, I imagine.
I'm sure it will, or in a backup somewhere.
Yeah.
Speaking of this, that book did have backups too, right? I'm not imagining that.
The Batman one did. The Batman one had a really cool prison drama with Stephanie and Cassandra Cain.
Yes, that was really good. The Batgirls one, I agree. It's very Orange is the New Black, but for Batman.
Yeah, I liked it as well. Like, these stories have been really great in their world building. And again, this story, like it's a prison filled with like heroes and villains. We got like Jefferson Pierce and Jimmy Olsen and Icicle and Killer Croc, and Stephanie's like the gang leader of them all.
Yes, which makes a lot of sense because she was a superhero, but her father was a super villain, so she could move between both worlds.
Yeah, and that's part of the story. She's undercover for the Resistance to find out what's going on in the prison, find out where Batman is, and that's also what Cassandra's doing, because she, as we find out, is contacted by Oracle, who is like hooked up to magistrate computers or something.
Something like that. It's also here where we start to see a real interesting timeline of events starting to unfold, because Steph is in the jail, but also has still lost her eye at this point too. So it's like, oh, when did that happen?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
all the books, all these issue 2 books start, and some of the issue 1 starts to sort of like lay out like a timeline of where all these, especially like the Titans, the Shazam, and the Flash ones, they all are connected.
yeah, definitely. But what was another future state one I had this week? Ooh, Immortal Wonder Woman.
Yeah, this was great.
What a beautiful book. I rarely say that. I know one of my faults as a critic is I don't talk about art enough, but this book was eye-meltingly beautiful.
Jen Bartel's art is it's never bad. It's never bad.
Whatever you're paying her, you're not paying her enough.
she should just be like the artist that draws Wonder Woman from now on.
Every panel in that book was just fucking iconic. And I never thought where it's like, does Diana look better with a little piece of gray in her hair? I think she does. Why am I more attracted to MILF Wonder Woman than I am other Wonder Woman? What does that say about me? And Becky Cloonan, who's always been good, actually manages to infuse a weird amount of like sweetness and into this story that's basically about Wonder Woman dealing with the end of the world, because assumedly this story takes place even further in the future state.
It seems to imply it's like the heat death of the universe, basically.
Yeah, the anti-life equation is just like swallowing everything up, and only the Amazons of Themyscira are really left alive to stand against it.
Yeah, the Amazons who have gathered up what was left of Swamp Thing and the Green, and are planning on exodus to a new world, since their world, the cause destabilized, and it's a lost cause.
What is it with DC's recent obsession with putting Wonder Woman at the end of the world, and why does it work so good?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Why do I not care about Wonder Woman so much when she's just doing regular stuff, when it's Wonder Woman at the end of the universe? This is cool as shit.
Yeah, it does work really well, doesn't it?
They've done it twice now, and it's like some of the best Wonder Woman stuff I've ever read.
Well, maybe it becomes like in this issue, as the Ghost Batman explains how she's like the hope, the heart of the team, and worth living. Yeah, and maybe that works as like, oh, it's the end of the world. No, it's hopeless, but really it's not, because Wonder Woman's here.
That exchange was really wonderful, and I hope we see that adapted somewhere, because it's really like poetry in the writing, where Wonder Woman's like, I always respected you, Batman, because you never gave up and you were never afraid for fighting lost causes and the underdog and everything. And Batman being like, yeah, I was never afraid to die, and I think I gave that feeling to other people, that there are some things worth dying for, but you, Diana, show them that there are things worth living for.
Yeah, I like the talk about Becky Cloonan's take on like the Bat prep time, how he's always one step ahead, and it's like, well, not really, he's just accepted his role in the game they're all playing.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it, where it's like, look, I'm not better than anyone, I just play differently than other people. I'm all in on this shit, for better and for worse.
Yeah.
Really, really nice touch. Darkseid gets a cool new design here too. That's like a fusion of his old universe look and like his new 52 thing. It's probably the best he's looked in a long time.
It has, yeah, and with Jen Bartel's art, it looks even better.
Yeah, he looks fucking sick, and Darkseid's basically like, so the entire universe is dying, huh? Oh, and it's anti-life that's behind it. Interesting. I'm gonna go to Earth and see whose ass I have left to kick before everything is destroyed. And I'm like, yeah, that's Darkseid for you.
Yeah, I like that. He just like the one-armed Orion and Barda come to him as, oh, the universe is dying, and he's like, whatever.
So I don't give a shit, which is so very Darkseid. It's like, I don't care. I don't care about anything. I'm the ultimate nihilist. And we also get to see like a glimpse of an old Superman who is very clearly still Clark, because he's got the S-curl and everything.
He looks good with white hair.
He does.
The costume, it reminded me a lot of the Kurt Busiek story Secret Identity, which is the Elseworlds, where like a real person ends up as Superman, and he ages, and it looks like the older Superman in that.
He's also got like the old Captain Marvel cape going on too, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, very interesting look for Superman. He's barely in it, but it's nice that he's there, and even old ass Superman is still trying to defend Earth at like the fall of everything.
Yeah.
Really nice touch. Also, Diana's got like a cool collection. Like, she's got Batman's belt, and she's got like Green Lantern's ring and a necklace and everything.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure next issue she's going to be getting Superman's cape.
Yeah, really, which goddamn is a good look too, actually. When she gets all that stuff, just all of my friends' accessories. I have
and
all the
and
accessories.
also I like, because I like, when I saw that picture, I'm thinking, oh, she like doing it to like power herself up, the Green Lantern's ring. And it's like, no, it's like she's using it because she doesn't want to lose the memories of her friends when she
It's
leaves this
very
earth.
tragic.
Yeah, it's really great.
She's a walking gravestone, basically, is
Yeah.
what she is for all of her fallen friends. And she's probably gonna pick up like Aquaman's trident and shit.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, all their stuff. Because who will be left to remember the great heroes of Earth? Who will be left to remember my friends? It's very like the elves leaving at the end of Lord of the Rings, isn't it? Like the Amazons are the elves,
Yeah.
and they're gonna get on the big boat and leave this world. Yeah, but yeah, that one's great. And then we got a Nubia backup in this that is also very good.
It's really, I love Nubia in this one.
And someone remembered Grail exists.
Yeah, remember Grail?
Remember Grail? She's back in Pog form. She was supposed to be really important because she was like half New God and half Amazon, but then like no one remembered and she stopped being important.
Yeah, I know, you're like, after like she was created for that just big Justice League story, they did try and use her in like the Wonder Woman book, but it never really went anywhere.
Didn't take.
No.
That was around the same time they were also saying that like Diana had a brother too, and it's just like didn't take.
No.
A lot of new Wonder Woman characters just do not take.
No.
But Nubia is an old Wonder Woman character, and apparently Nubia can be really awesome, and really awesome for a lot of the same reasons Yara Flor is, and that is, hey, what if we took a Wonder Woman but steeped her in a completely different mythology?
Yeah, and made her funny as well.
Yeah, she's very funny and very quippy. She's like the Spider-Man of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she's great.
And at this point, too, I'm like, man, like Yara Flor is great and Nubia is great. Can we have like a league of Wonder Women? Can that just be a team?
The Wonder Women Corps.
Oh my god, just a bunch of Wonder Women from different mythologies all over the place. You got a Japanese one and a Viking one.
Oh, yeah.
But get an Indian one naturally, too. And, she's got like a bunch of arms and everything, of course, like Vishnu. That'd be pretty fun. This book too also had probably my favorite naming gag in anything, and that is for Nubia to crack this case and find out what Grail has been stealing. She needs help from like an ancient deity who runs the Black Spider Club, and her name is Aunt Nancy. Get it? Aunt Nancy, Anansi, the African spider god.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a fucking great. I love shit like that. I love weird punny names. And like Aunt Nancy's a really fun character too, and also funny and irreverent.
Yeah, it's a great new direction for, because like Nubia up until now has really just been, has been like like what I've seen of her is like a harder edged Wonder Woman, where she's a bit more warrior.
There's been a couple versions. There's one where her and Diana were twins. There's one where she was from another universe. There's one where she's just another Amazon. But people always liked her because she had a cool ass design.
She did, yeah.
And I think this really like showcases too, one of the benefits of, the whole omniverse. Anything can happen anywhere. Yeah, we can have 3 Wonder Women at once if we want, and they can be different and fill their own niche and everything and be super cool in their own way. I mean, shit. I've enjoyed more Wonder Woman stories now than I have in a while.
Yeah, they it seems like they finally like cracked the code.
Apparently, if you take the limiters off Wonder Woman, you can just do whatever you want. I like Nubia too, because Nubia was fighting crime and like cracking cases and everything, stuff that Diana hasn't done.
Yeah, she was like the like street level, like doing like crime stuff, whereas like Wonder Woman was like fighting gods and whatnot.
And the end of the world. I like the idea that there's a Wonder Woman out there who's got to pound the pavement and like look for clues and shit.
Yeah.
Can she inherit all the villains that Diana doesn't use anymore? I mean, well, Grail's a villain she doesn't use anymore. Can she have like Silver Swan and Dr. Psycho and Dr. Poison?
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, can we have all the villains that no one uses anymore? Wonder Woman has a very interesting rogues gallery that gets 0 play. Giganta. There you go. But yeah, so that one was totally kick-ass. What else did you have, Matt?
We had Superman Worlds of War.
Yes.
Issue 1.
Yes, we did.
Fantastic issue.
Boy, was it, and boy, was this unexpected. Like, you see the cover, and it's like, oh, it's gonna be Gladiator, it's gonna be World War Hulk, but with Superman, and you get a little taste of that, but it's really not what the story's about.
This has me really excited because Philip Kennedy Johnson's going to be writing both Action Comics and Superman in Infinite Frontier, and
Yes, and he has me interested to pick it up now.
yeah,
This is what he's laying down.
Well, this whole story is just like him laying down. It's like, this is what Superman means to me.
Yeah,
And it's perfect. It's
it is.
exactly what I think Superman should be.
Yeah, absolutely. He is the right kind of Superman fan, and it definitely shows. The idea is that we are in the future. John has bottled the city of Metropolis, and no one quite knows why. People are freaked out because Superman is gone, but everyone still knows he's Clark Kent, and because of that, Smallville has become like this weird mecha point for like drifters and people looking for answers about the universe, and like it's become this horrible, like spiritually dead tourist trap.
Yeah, we got people trying to sell fake kryptonite, and people setting up like the teachings of Kal-El, where they philosophize over his like chemistry papers from high school.
Yeah, as they're like, oh, there's some deep secret meaning in here, and like a whole cult is formed around it. And I'm like, man, I work on the internet. This is still maybe like the least silly cult I've heard about today. And yeah, we basically follow this girl who, was saved by Superman, and she joins this like drum circle, and everyone tells their own story of where they think Superman may have gone, and this is where the artist just gets to go nuts and just like draw crazy shit.
Mikkel Janin just swinging for the fences here. We get some wonderful stories about like people saying, oh, we'll save, like a suicide bomb went off, and we didn't see Superman, but we knew it was him because of like the bomb exploded a mile up in the air and we saw a red streak, and I got saved from Superman when he was fighting Magog, and the only thing I remember is that he was talking to me. So there's wonderful stuff like that. And then we get like the conspiracy theories, and all of them which are like, can these like be stories? Like, these are really fucking cool.
Like pitches.
These are really fucking cool.
All those people in that drum circle had a podcast, Matt, just like this one, and these were all their pitches. I think Superman ascended to a higher level of being, man. No, he's like an intergalactic farmer now, man. Seed in the world for a better tomorrow. No, he was a shapeshifter, man, and he just went to another universe that needed him more, man. Pass it.
My favorite one, and it's one that I'd love to see like become a company-wide event, which was just like, oh, he wouldn't have been the only Kryptonian. Like, there were space travelers, so like, what's to say there aren't hundreds of worlds out there with like tyrant Supermen, and they all come to Earth because they knew Superman was there, and it becomes the age of Krypton. I'm like, there's an event.
That's definitely a pitch he's got in his back pocket, isn't it? Philip Kennedy Johnson's like, do you like that? Because I'll make that happen. Also, one of those evil Supermen looked like Invincible's dad.
He did, yeah.
Which I knew had to be a reference. And obviously, this girl who we've been following, she's our POV character, and she gives what is essentially the right version of Superman, where it's like, you guys have got it all wrong. You're concentrating on his powers and his costume and all these superficial things. I was saved by Clark Kent. It's the man, it's his humanity that makes him so super. And then you got one like fucking shit huffer in the corner. No, actually,
it's his powers. He punches people. That's only when he's Superman. And I'm like, oh, that is so good, because I've come across people exactly like that.
Same. I think we all have, and it's like, shut the fuck up, Zach. No, he's best because he has his power. Oh, why is this lady leaving? What did I do? And everyone else telling him to shut the fuck up too, which was also good. And then in the last page, we actually do get to see Superman fighting in one of the Mongols, maybe his kid. I don't know. There's lots of Mongols.
I'm pretty sure it's Mongol 2, because a Mongol was killed in like Leviathan Rising, I think.
There you go. Yeah, fighting in the war world, all gladiator style. And again, still hopeful. And it's like, don't worry, alien friends. We're all going to get through this. We're all going to get home.
Yeah, that was so good. And his costume looks so good. It's like Frank Frazetta designed a Superman costume by way of Conan.
It is super Conan. And even like the symbol there looks like it's not the traditional S. It's one of the other ones.
It's a Kingdom Come
it's
Superman
literally
symbol.
Kingdom Come, yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Love the Kingdom Come reference. This one had some fun backups too. We get another Shiloh Norman Mr. Miracle story, which is also on Warworld.
Yeah, which was really good, but I found it weird because it says that this takes place after Superman of Metropolis issue 2.
Yeah.
So why not just put it in that book? Like,
I know we both hate it when that happens.
Yeah, because then it kind of spoils the story. We know he gets out and gets to Warworld somehow.
Until he eventually isn't on Warworld at all. He's just out in fucking space.
Yeah. That was cool, and that ties into the Midnighter story as well, because we see Midnighter briefly in his story,
which is the best one, the Midnighter story, which again is also from Clunan, I do believe. Yes.
Yeah, Clunan and Michael Conrad. They're like duoing a lot of the stuff in Future State.
They are, man. This Midnighter story was bloody.
It was super violent, exactly how Midnighter should be.
They were really pushing the boundaries of like, okay, what can we get away in a regular DC comic? What can we get away with?
Quite a lot. And I have to imagine it's because like what he was killing was like technically like cyborgs.
They're robots, it's fine. And then I was really not expecting to. They bring up that stupid new brain cells element again. Apparently these guys on Warworld are trying to create a new element that would be like kryptonite, but for other races to like kill and destroy them, which is an interesting concept.
I like that because it's giving what I thought wasn't going to happen, which was a backstory to this thing, and like making it an actual, not just like a throwaway thing that some weirdo villain had. They're making it like a big part of this story.
I do love the idea of like, what is a human kryptonite? And it's called cancer. Oh no, he got me with the cancer ray. Shit. Now I'm weak and lethargic and losing my hair. Fuck. And of course, in the end, because it's a Midnighter story, Apollo has to be involved in some way too.
Yeah, and he's seemingly evil.
Yeah. But we don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
That was fun. And then we got a new Black Racer as well.
Yeah, who might be connected to the actual Black Racer, or maybe not. Like her name is Black Racer because that's like her racing name, because she races like giant mechs and stuff. And then she gets like powers.
Yes. I like the new costume too, because it's a nice updating of the old original
Looks like
one.
a knight. Looks like a knight, which again, it's a space knight, so it's not that silly. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a nice little grab bag of stories.
Yeah.
But was that everyone? Yeah, that was all the ones I read. Did you read any ones I didn't?
What did I read? I read Shazam issue 1.
Oh, okay. You read this and I didn't. Tell me about the Shazam.
This was a good mystery one. This one connects up with the Teen Titans and the Flash, and
right,
a little bit of the Nightwing, because Nightwing's in Teen Titans and whatnot.
Yes.
So Billy's leading Shazam is leading the JLA.
Really?
Out of Detroit. It's Mr. Miracle, Powerhouse, Miss Martian, Bunker, and the Question.
Man. Can't kill Bunker. We're sidelining Red Hood because of his connection to Scott Lobdell, but freaking Bunker gets to keep coming back.
And yeah, he's leading it, and they're fighting like checkmate. Like again, connecting it up with the Flash stuff. And Question is not Vic Sage or Renee Montoya or any of these people. It's someone new. We don't know who. Cool. And they suspect something's wrong with Shazam, because he seems like a mite jumpy, and like they've never seen him give back power to Billy or anything like that, and he's always been Shazam and everything. And it all comes to a head when Giganta and a Manhunter robot break into Iron Heights to bust out the Creeper, and they do it on behalf of Kahndaq and Black Adam, because Creeper is a resident of Kahndaq, and he's wrongfully imprisoned and everything. So the JLA go and just like immediately stop them, but then somehow during the fight, Creeper is murdered. And the team start putting it together. It's like a bunch of villains in their care and around the world have been murdered, and they've all been murdered with this stone sort of dagger sort of thing, which Shazam has around his neck. And they sort of start piecing it together, and they find out that Shazam murdered Creeper. And as we learn, Shazam is Shazam. He's not Billy, because in the past he went to hell to fight Neron.
Nice.
And we learned that they trapped a villain in the Rock of Eternity, and someone's got to protect the door. And the only person who can do that is Billy Batson, because powers and stuff aren't the currency of the realm in hell. It's innocence, and he's the most innocent, so he's the only one who can protect the door. So what Neron does is he splits Shazam and Billy, and it's left like ambiguous, but I think Neron did something to Shazam, because Shazam, when they split, he was blind, and Shazam and Neron did some spell over him, and I think like Shazam is seeing things that aren't there and making him do things, because they make a point that he's going to save the world as he sees fit. So I think like there's some sort of like illusion going on, and Billy isn't actually in Shazam anymore. They've split. And that's why we've never seen Billy go from Shazam and come back from Shazam or anything like that.
Huh.
Yeah.
A murder mystery with Shazam. I do like that. That does sound pretty cool. I might have to check that one out.
And it's connecting up with like all the Horseman stuff and everything like that.
Which I like. We still haven't seen the Horsemen. We've heard about the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, but we haven't actually seen any of them yet.
Yeah.
Also, too, you got to figure if Miss Martian is on that team, that there's got to be some sort of shape-shifting shenanigans as well.
Yeah, possibly.
That was always be my bet there. That's like a, never not bet on the shapeshifter.
More white Martians, more HyperClan.
Maybe. Maybe Miss Martian's like, I was only good because there were no other white Martians around. Now there's other white Martians around. Now I got to go, fight for my own people and everything. We're the last of our race. So was that it? Was that all of the Future State books that we read this week?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it is.
Alrighty, then I guess I'll start winding down this portion of the show then, and we can kick on over to my interview with Jason Inman. We talked for about another 50 minutes, everyone. So again, you definitely didn't get cheated on a show this week. And also, hey, if you're a patron, I put this one up first for you, so you can watch that one. You can watch this in video and audio form when we put this one up. So that's going to be good.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. So again, thank you everyone for watching and listening. We really appreciated it. Again, thank you so much to our sponsors for helping us bring this show to you. Thank you to the patrons who have always been there for us. And we hope will continue to be so in the future as we entertain you and bring you more stuff, be it Future State, be it King in Black, be it whatever the future has for us. So with that, everyone, I'll start bringing the show to an end, eh?
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming out.
Most definitely. And with that, I will now kick over to myself for the interview portion of the show. So with that, everyone, bye-bye.
Bye.
And hello and welcome everyone to another installment of the Comic Multiverse Interview Edition. And I didn't lose this one this time. This one is actually here this time.
Don't give away the trade secrets.
Yeah, really. I'm very forward with my failures to my audience. It makes me relatable, don't you know?
Well, fair. Okay, fair point. I retract the statement, and I should learn from the better professional.
Oh, you're too kind. So that voice, of course, and face that you're seeing on your screen right now belongs to Jason Inman, longtime friend to the show, comic professional, podcaster, all-around internet renaissance man. And I think with your appearance here, Jason, I think you've been on the show more than anyone else, with your wife and partner, Ashley, coming in close second. So I should send out a little trophy for that.
You should give me a no prize. Send me an empty envelope. I love it.
I absolutely should do that. So it's nice to have you here, man. It's nice to get this opportunity to chop it up and talk with you, especially in these oh-so-trying, stressful times we all find ourselves. And I guess my first big question is, how have you been, man? The last time we talked was in August for the show, and that was rough. And then it just kind of kept happening until now. So what's up? How have those couple months been?
I don't know if anybody in the world had a happy 2020. I don't even know if the new president of the United States, Joe Biden, could say he had a happy 2020.
I doubt it.
I think he had a good end.
Yeah.
But luckily I can say that, like, I took the year and the time and the stress, and I, like, tried to be as productive as possible, and I tried to just, like, barrel down and write more. And I did take the fake break of 2021 and kind of just be like, all right, this is a hopeful year. This is a productive year. Last year was the year where I could, because I like everybody. I had some weeks where I was like, you know what? All I'm going to do is watch Star Trek this week. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to work very hard because what's the point?
Yeah.
But this year I was like, all right, no, it is time to get back to the normal swing of things. It is time to push forward, and that's what I'm going to do. And so far, 2021's been pretty good.
Nice. I'm in much the same boat. I had big plans, to get back in shape. I looked at a video of myself from 2019, and I'm like, holy shit, I was skinny? What the hell happened to that guy? Yeah, I put on the quarantine 30, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, interesting. Luckily, so this is the thing, because my full-time job for the last couple of years has been working for a television writer's room. Mm-hmm. And television writers are notorious for having really, like, the taste buds of 3-year-olds. So, it's Kit Kats and M&Ms everywhere. And so I put on weight there. And then luckily, not being in the television writer's office, I was able to, lose some weight, actually.
Oh, nice. That's always good.
Yeah.
I'm going back on doing the keto thing, but of course I also got a soda pop sponsorship as well too, and I'm like, oh, this came at the best and worst time.
Oh boy, oh man, oh it wasn't the keto soda.
No, Zevia. I've been writing Zevia, but no, they got to deal with Disney. They ain't writing me.
Oh, Zevia has to deal with Disney?
Yes, their brand new kids line of Zevia soda is all branded with Disney characters.
Oh, interesting, man. So I'm wondering, in episode 7, are we going to see, in WandaVision, we're going to see Zevia pop up? That's going to be weird.
I'm fine with that. That's totally cool by me. You've been enjoying WandaVision? I'm sure Matt and I talked about it earlier in the show, but what's your take on the series?
I was not looking forward to WandaVision before it aired because... Really? Yeah, Wanda's just not my favorite. I've never been a big fan of Scarlet Witch or the Vision.
She's underwritten in the movies, I will not deny.
And I even think a little bit in the comic book she's a little bit underwritten as well. But
I can't remember the last time she's had a big central story. I'm sure that'll change now with the show, though.
Uncanny Avengers, maybe? But she's a team member. But
that's probably the last time. Yeah.
I also don't like the Inhuman retcon. Don't buy it. Magneto is her dad. I don't care. You'll never change my mind.
She's not an Inhuman. The High Evolutionary made her, and they never used the word Inhuman. A lot of people assume she was Inhuman, but they never came out and said it.
Don't buy it. She's a mutant, man. She's a mutant. She's Magneto's daughter. That's my headcanon. Forget the rest.
That's fine by me, too. It's interesting that Hickman had the ability to throw the switch on that right away the same way he did it on everything else, but he didn't. He has another bigger long game for Wanda, apparently.
So to be honest with you, when I watched the first 2 episodes, I was just impressed that Marvel was trying something different and was trying something, and they were really leaning into the idea that they were like, this is a streaming show, so it's different from the movies.
They committed.
I really appreciate that. I appreciate the creativity of that. I appreciate the cojones of that, because they could have really rested on their laurels, and I was kind of expecting it just to be a normal superhero show. I thought all the advertisements were just a dress-up thing. I was like, oh, they're gonna fight a villain real quick.
That'll be episode 1, but there'll be a wraparound story in the main world. No, everyone, you got to sit down and watch a whole episode of the Dick Van Dyke Show. Is what you got to do.
And I will say, as a fan of all those old black and white comedies, I thought they nailed the tone brilliantly.
Oh, God,
the most recent episode, I think, was a Pitch Perfect Brady Bunch episode.
Oh, yeah.
So to be honest with you, I'm quite impressed. And
Same.
If they stick the landing on this thing, it might be my favorite Marvel thing ever.
Yeah, man, it's certainly getting there. I know a lot of people were making some very favorable David Lynch comparisons, and I certainly see the Blue Velvet.
It's a very Mulholland Drive,
Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet. There's a lot of that going on in there. I think you had the right word when you said the cojones that it takes for this, and I think these are the sort of devil-may-care
or the ovaries. Let's not gender side it.
Absolutely, big agree.
Yes.
That these are the sort of crazy, wild, creative swings you can only get to make when you've made several billion-dollar movie franchises. For them to actually come up and be like, you know what? We don't care if you like this one. This is just for us.
Yeah, I mean, no, it makes me really hopeful for their other streaming shows.
Same.
Because I've been a big critic of man, I don't like this idea that I have to watch every single one of these shows to understand the next movie. Now, I still think they're going to do that. Like, I'm throwing it out there right now. I think the ending of this show is Doctor Strange shows up.
That's a big one.
I honestly think this is the entirety of a pre-credit scene for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Interesting. If that is, that'll be really cool. But also, yes, I see what you're saying as we're getting to the point of media saturation now. How many of these do you have to watch? Because I know a lot of people said that about Avengers 1, where it's like, oh, it's one solid story and you need to see all of them. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, you don't really do. You need to have a working knowledge of some of these, but you don't have to actually see all of them. You need to see Thor and you need to see Captain America.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I also think that, like, you know, it's just like, I always think about things in terms of my mother. And let me explain this. Because my mother is, you know, she's in her 60s now, and she's not the biggest comic book fan. She's aware of these things. But, like, my mom is never going to watch every single Marvel movie. She's never going to watch every single Disney Plus series. So, like, yeah, I'm of the fan of, like, you know, you should still be able to pick and choose.
Right.
You know, like if you're watching Avengers Endgame and you haven't seen Ant-Man, you should just be able to, like, oh, okay, he's the shrinking guy, cool.
Right.
But there shouldn't be like a scene in Ant-Man where you just completely, or excuse me, Endgame, where you just completely don't understand it because you didn't see Ant-Man.
Right. And I think they've been pretty good about that. I like to use.
They have been pretty good, yeah.
I like to use the mom yardstick there. My mom, she got Disney Plus there, and she did watch all of the Avengers movies and all of the Marvel movies, and she has a surprising working knowledge for a woman in her 50s. Yeah, so much to the point I did a video series where I'm like, all right, Mom, you're going to sit down and I'm going to show you a picture of every Avenger and you're going to give me your thoughts on them. We're about 2 videos deep into that.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I haven't seen those. That's so awesome.
I'll have to send them to you. They're very fun. They're very fun. People were blown away when she's like, oh, and that's Monica Rambeau, and she's Spectrum. And they're like, how does she know that? I'm like, because I explained to her who Spectrum was when she saw Captain Marvel. And she's like, really? She gets to come back, the little girl, and be a hero? Yes, actually, and she's going to be in WandaVision.
Well, I didn't know that was her. I knew the actress was somebody important just because, like, you can tell by the way that they were focusing on her. And then when I read the bonus article that said she was Monica Rambeau, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm a little bit more excited for Captain Marvel 2 now. You have piqued my interest a little bit more.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how these shows move forward, because it's like, yeah, we're setting up characters here so they can come to the movies. And it's like, yeah, Miss Marvel is going to get a whole show and then also be in the Captain Marvel movie. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Well, I would imagine... So I also have a stealth theory here, because a lot of the stuff they're doing with these series seem to be setting up a Young Avengers. I'm going to guess Disney Plus show.
Oh yeah, it's got to be. The pieces are already in place.
Yeah, like I think WandaVision is going to create Billy and is it Teddy?
Tommy,
excuse me. And
everyone forgets Tommy. Everyone knows Billy because he's been in more higher profile stories.
Yes, and then I think Falcon Winter Soldier is going to set up Patriot.
Yeah.
I think that's where you're going to find out about Isaiah Bradley, who one of the greatest comic book characters of all time.
Agreed.
We know that Kate Hudson is in Hawkeye.
Yep.
And I have another theory that Loki, the end of Loki, is that he gets turned into a kid.
Hey, kid Loki. Nice. Because, we've seen all the other versions of it. Oh, that'd be pretty fun. That'd be pretty good.
And then Park, Miss Marvel. From her series, and then I wouldn't surprise me if Miles Morales gets thrown into the Young Avengers.
Yeah, because we know he exists. We saw his uncle, and especially with the time jump.
Yeah, but I think I don't know if they're going to do it as a movie, or I would guess they're probably going to do it as a Disney Plus series. Would be my guess. But I think a lot of the Disney Plus stuff is inching towards Young Avengers.
Yeah, because you got to inch to somewhere, as they have discovered. Your interconnected universe works better when you have like a goalpost you're trying to reach, and not when you're just doing them willy-nilly. And they're like, well, maybe we'll make another one, maybe we won't. We don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Having something to work forward to certainly helps.
Well, you know, it's another thing, too. The other thing I like about WandaVision is it reminds me a lot of the mid-2000s, sort of the first wave of serialized television shows we got. The mystery box shows like Battlestar Galactica and Lost and all the terrible ones. But, yeah, like, I feel like WandaVision is one of these shows where, like, I feel like I cannot look away from it. I can't look at my phone because... Every single thing I'm seeing is an Easter egg or a hint
Yep, there's always something there. Did you ever watch the weird avant-garde British puppet show that was online there for a bit called Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared?
No, what is that?
Okay, so it's a really weird, like, art piece from these guys who are, like, really seriously into puppetry.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they did a series, again, very David Lynchian, where it's like, let's take a look at the maybe darker psychological horror that could exist on, like, a Sesame Street or a Muppets and everything, where what if some malevolent force was corrupting the lessons of every episode and will eventually build to, critique on the entertainment industry in something, again, very, David Lynchian. And that was apparently so well received that they got a second season that they crowdfunded, and then it's like, oh, no, wait, actually, we're taking this to television. And in fact, it probably would have been to television now were it not for COVID and all the productions getting messed up.
Oh, that's well. I mean, I have no problem with anything about puppets because I'm all in on the Muppets. Like the announcement that the Muppets are finally the Muppet Show is finally going to Disney Plus was like one of the best announcements of this year so far. But
including the 2 seasons that never made it to home video. So that's
yes, and apparently they're going to remaster some of them too. But I still predict. Just like I don't know if you know Whose Line Is It Anyway is on HBO Max, but there are certain episodes that are missing, and they're the episodes with the famous people. Like the Robin Williams episodes are not there. I have a feeling that there are still going to be certain episodes of the Muppet Show that have not been cleared with the rights, and they just won't be on Disney Plus.
Yeah, because again, that was always the biggest hurdle for that show. It's like they had a bunch of like really big live musical guests on that thing.
Elton John sang Crocodile Rock on the Muppet Show,
which is amazing.
When it was a brand new single.
Yeah. Again, so it's like they couldn't possibly have cleared the music rights for all of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. And just imagine all the rights, like just the appearance rights, because they have so many guests.
Alice
the
Cooper
Muppet Show. Yeah, Alice Cooper, Elton, like everybody that's famous in the 70s was on the Muppet Show. Which
I'm sure does kids' heads in. Now it's like, there was a big popular primetime show with puppets where big celebrities would stop by.
Mm-hmm. It's there's nothing quite like it. It's so funny because I'm a huge fan of the Muppets. Like Kermit the Frog is the original Muppet movie is one of my favorite things of all time.
I think it's solid.
It's such a solid movie, man. And
all the songs are bangers. Rainbow Connection, moving right along.
They've never been able to beat it. They've never been able to beat that original movie. You can just see all the energy. I mean, just the fact of seeing Kermit on the bike is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And no Muppet song has ever beat Rainbow Connection.
It's amazing. It's too good.
I mean, it's a thing where like it's always that constant discussion, right? Where because I don't like the new, I think it's called Muppets Now. I don't like it.
I watched a couple of those, and I'm like, all right, this feels like a new Muppet thing.
Yeah, I don't think the idea of it is bad.
No,
like I don't think the motif of it is bad, because I understand you want to modernize the Muppets, but like there's something about the jokes. I think they're making it too kiddie, and the thing about it is if you go back and watch the Muppet Show and the first Muppet movie, they're making Hare Krishna jokes.
Oh yeah, they had some edge to them. Sesame Street was the stuff for kids. Muppets was supposed to be for everybody.
But see, I think Disney sees Muppets as it's all kidsy, and I think like, man, if the perfect Muppet reboot is just to remake the Muppet Show. You put modern stars on there. You do Saturday Night Live's edge skits.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it would blow up. I think people would love it just as much as they did. Like, make it as controversial as the show you were just describing to me.
Oh yeah, make it like Don't Hug Me. Man, I'm sure those people would love to get involved with that just so they could do a take on what they were actually, kind of parodying. Man, Muppets. Muppets is great. You and our mutual friend Sal, of course, love Muppets too. He told me a really sad story of when him and Tiff went to Disneyland for their honeymoon, and they were like slowly but surely phasing out all the Muppet stuff to make room for Star Wars. Like apparently,
oh yeah, because didn't they have like a Muppets 3D ride or something like that?
Yes, that is like just on the border of like Batuu and the new Star Wars land, and it's like, oh, that's gonna be a sad day when the stormtroopers come on in to evict the Muppets out of the theater. Get out.
It's so funny. I can remember, I think it was like 2019 or 2018. That is when they had, and I know it was in New York for a long time. It kind of traveled the country a little bit. They had the Muppets museum piece, and they brought it to a museum where they had a bunch of the actual puppets in the museum. And when we went into the LA museum, the display, the first thing you saw was they had the Kermit puppet that was used in the Muppet movie.
Oh,
and he's
wow.
just sitting there and he's got his thing. And dude, I've also seen the Rosetta Stone in person. That's in London. I had the same feeling seeing that Kermit as seeing the Rosetta Stone, where you're just like, oh, I felt like history was like
right in front of me,
like hitting me right then.
And the cane from Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's so freaking cool. Man, I miss traveling and getting to see cool shit like that.
Right?
This is the first year without, like, a big convention and everything, and I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's one of these things that I keep saying that when and luckily in your country you've been able to open up more than we have, but here in America,
Ontario's back in lockdown actually and will be for another month.
Yeah, but at least you guys got to open up more than what we have. Like,
it was
like
nice for a minute until people got complacent with it and wrecked it for everybody.
Yeah, it's one of these things where once we finally get to open up and be safe and stuff like that, I've been saying to Ashley, my lovely wife, that you know, we have to be careful because I have a feeling we'll be out every single night and spending so much money, and we'll go all the money we've saved from lockdown, we'll blow it in like a month.
Oh, I feel that. I'm already there, just where it's like, okay, what are some new interests I need to get into now? Gundam models. I'm going to start doing those. Hey, Pokemon cards are back. Those are a big investment.
Are Pokemon cards back?
They are actually.
Are they digital or are they actually cards again?
They're actually cards again, but you get a code for the app. So you buy a pack in real life, you get it in an app too.
Interesting. Because I figured like the kids would you know, be so much about the digital, because I know like Star Wars does the digital. They have like a trading card digital app or something like that. I'm so old.
But we all are, man. Yeah, they're back in a big way because apparently a bunch sold for like a ridiculous amount of money at auction, and that just like kicked a massive like shot of adrenaline into it. So now like actual like Wall Street people and speculator people are buying it up again, which as a comic fan I'm like, speculator markets,
Interesting. Yeah, man, let me ask you this. Let's talk about this. This would be a great conversation. I would love to hear your because you know, you have to stay so current on comic books, especially for your channel and everything like that, and way more so than I have to anymore. Do you think we're heading towards another spectator bubble, like that, like was in the 90s? Because, and the reason why I asked this question, I proposed this question to you, is because it seems like every Image comic that is coming out now has 10 covers.
Yeah, we are getting a lot of that now, and also comics that you wouldn't think would sell big are selling big now. Like the first issue of Punchline surprisingly did very well. Her first appearance, even though she's only in it for a minute, but people were selling that for like $500 because it was a first appearance. And same with Virus from the new Venom book. That also sold. Like, it turned out to be Matt Gargan, wasn't a new character at all. You got snowed, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it feels like, and even Marvel and DC and the Image, like, it feels like we are leaning a little, like, I feel like these titles are selling well because they're tied to a speculator thing.
Yeah.
And every time that happens, that's bad news.
Bad shit.
Comic book market.
Always has. In fact, it's funny you should mention that because before we started, I was, browsing YouTube as I am wont to do, and I saw a channel there that's like, the 5 best, investment comics for the month of whatever, and I'm like, is this seriously a thing now? Is this?
It is.
Are we
it is a
doing
thing.
this?
I've seen a couple of those pop up again, and I want to be like, man.
Don't do this. Don't. Yeah, please stop.
I mean, we're just leading down to the thing where the best story is my wife worked in a comic shop for like 5 years. In fact, it's where I met her. And the story that we have an interesting origin story that you can hear on our Patreon if you want to come over. But she always tells a story that like once a year, not multiple times a year, she would always have somebody walk in with Superman 75, the issue where he died, the classic, cape across the thing. And they'd be like, how much is this worth? $500? And she'd be like, 75 cents.
Because they sold too many. It's worthless.
Yeah, it's the same thing with every single comic, man. Like, everybody that like cares about the speculator thing, they're all bagging and boarding. There's like 5,000... There's 50,000 copies of the Department of Truth. It's never going to be worth anything.
Of course. The last comic, to my knowledge, that was actually worth like any money was also an Image book, and it was Walking Dead #1.
#1, yep.
Because it was a weird black and white indie book that they barely made 1,000 of.
Well, that one makes sense, right? And also, like, that blew up into a huge television show. But, like, you know, like, I'm trying to think of an interesting one. Like, look, what is the new Rick Remender comic out there? Scumbag or something like that? Is that right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. 2 years from now, Scumbag #1 is going to be worth maybe cover price.
If they make a TV show out of it, though, again, all these streaming services want new comic book stuff, and the boys have shown that you can make a successful show out of weird superhero adjacent stuff.
That's true, but I don't think The Boys #1 is that it's worth that much of an issue. Here, I'll literally do the Google now as we're on air.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually.
I don't think the TV shows and movies don't pop it as much as we think they do.
No, they really don't.
They only do that for Silver Age stuff.
True. Or, again, weird, obscure stuff that there's less of in general.
Okay, so, according to the site, Comic Book Realm,
right, the
current value of The Boys #1 is $80. Now, I'm also going to go to comics.collect. Okay, if you get The Boys #1 graded at a 9.8, it is worth $325.
Yeah.
So, okay...
But not putting your way through college, but yeah.
Yeah, that book came out in 2006.
Yeah, true enough.
So, I mean, yeah, it could get to over several hundred, but it sounds like it's going to take a decade.
Yeah, true enough. That's why you got a bag and board now and wait for it. Speaking of speculators, actually, there was a great documentary. It was a Canadian documentary. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore, but I'm sure you can find it. It's called You Don't Know Jack. Have you heard of this one?
No.
It was about, Jack Specific. And all those companies that made baseball cards.
Okay.
And it was a guy, he was a Canadian character actor, he was on, like, the Magic School Bus, he's on, like, a bunch of stuff. Basically, he went home, found all his baseball cards, and it's like, now is my time to cash in, and he goes to all the card shows and all the other conventions, only to be like, no, these aren't worth anything. And eventually, he follows it up the chain of command to, like, some of the old executives at these trading card companies. And they're like, nah, man, you're Barry Bonds, we had, like, sheets and sheets of them, man. We were totally, the industry was corrupt from the bottom up, we were just printing whatever.
Oh, boy. I got to look this thing up. I have not heard of this.
Oh, you would really appreciate it. And here's the darkest twist of it all. Okay. So all those executives of the trading card companies, guess where they went where the speculator bubble burst in the trading card market?
I don't know.
Comic books.
Of course they did.
So the same people who tanked one industry just hopped right over to tank another.
Right, because in the 90s, Marvel bought like Topps or something like that. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, because that was the reason why Marvel went bankrupt, because they owned an action figure company, a trading card company, and something else, and they were spread too thin.
Yeah, there you go. And that was the era of pushing the cards on everyone. Hey, comes with a holographic card, sure to increase in value.
Yeah, it's also the thing, too, where, like, every Wizard magazine had a weird hologram card and all that stuff like that.
We don't see that anymore. Of all the things that have come back and, everything old is new again, Heroes Reborn, Clone Saga, they have not brought back the tradable cards, thank God.
Yeah, I think because, like, they have just, the trading cards have just gone to nothing. They just don't really exist anymore, and, I don't know. Yeah, except for like Pokemon cards, yeah.
All the big ones come from Japan. No one can do it in North America anymore.
They used to make trading cards of everything, man. They were like Star Trek Voyager cards. For like it was ridiculous.
Crazy to think, That's how you knew you made it, when you got a lunchbox and you got a trading card.
Yeah, if you got a trading card set, like that's when you knew you were really something. Like it was something that was you'd made, like they thought you had enough, because everything, man, it was the thing, like back in the day you would get action figures and you would always get trading cards.
Yep. Oh yeah, some of my fondest memories tied to both of those. Heck, even fly-by-night franchises like the Max got a trading card set.
Oh yes, I had the McFarlane Max figure.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah,
it's
a really good looking figure.
I know, I've seen it. It's beautiful. I had so many of the original Spawn figures, but again, I was a young kid getting these and didn't know that, these were meant to be looked at, not played with. McFarlane figures, kind of flimsy. Didn't hold up to much playing. They were fun to look at.
Oh, really? Yeah, because they're just meant to be, like, posed. Like, pop, pose it, and yeah. Interesting.
I told that story to Sal. I'm like, man, all these great figures I don't have anymore. He's like, hey, come to the New Jersey Toy Con one day and you'll be able to buy them all back for a nickel. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, they're all cheap, man. They're all super cheap. I mean, they were great figures, though. I mean, McFarlane figures, Man, that's why when Todd McFarlane did his Kickstarter for Spawn, I backed it immediately because I have so many fond memories. One of my favorite action figures of all time was the Curse of Spawn.
Yeah.
Now, I hadn't read Curse of Spawn, but man, at the time, Toy Biz was making these really goofy-looking X-Men figures.
Yeah, they were.
DC had Total Justice, and then all the rest of the action figures were either tied into movies or the animated things. So they were all like cartoony, silly.
Yeah.
And then you look at Curse of Spawn, and you were like, holy
Just popped
cow.
out on the shelf, yeah.
Look at the detail of that thing.
Nothing looked like it.
Yeah, no other action figures look like McFarlane action figures.
Yeah, big agree. So obviously, of course, you're back on the show this week because you have yet another wildly successful Kickstarter project. Tell us about Super Best Friends and why people should be super excited. Actually, Super Best Friends, Super Best
Friend,
Super Best.
Don't want to get illegal quandaries.
Yes, Super Best Friends was a YouTube channel I quite enjoyed until they fell apart.
Yeah, it was. So Super Best Friend is the story of young Maddie Moore, who is the best friend and videographer of the world's greatest superhero, Captain Terrific. Maddie Moore live streams all the adventures of Captain Terrific and his super pals on his streaming channel called Super Best Friend, hence the title. And the book is kicked off into dangerous territory when Maddie accidentally leaves his phone on at the wrong moment and Captain Terrific's secret identity is revealed to the world.
Oops.
And suddenly, Maddie Moore has to put the genie back in the bottle because he has basically ruined his best friend's life.
Right.
And this is a difficult task for Maddie because, he's a big super fan like we all are. And suddenly he has to do some things that he doesn't want to do and step out of his comfort zone because it's the journey of a superhero sidekick to full-on superhero. It's a lot of fun. It's my perfect melding of the Silver Age of comic books, which is a period of comic books that I really have a lot of fondness for, mixed with sort of online superhero fandom.
I like it. Again, it's a very modern updating on the oh-so-classic Jimmy Olsen Superman relationship.
Yes. It takes a lot of inspiration from that. And a lot of people have asked me in certain things where they were like, oh, why didn't you pitch this to DC? Why didn't you do this? And to be honest with you, I did. I did.
How'd that go?
No interest.
Oh, that's a shame. I like it.
Yeah. And so do the people on Kickstarter. Because luckily, if this sounds it's a 48-page comic book. So it's an oversized issue.
Links
you can
in the
get it at superbestfriendcomic.com or my Twitter profile @Jawman. And it's already funded, so that means that the book is definitely going to happen. And right now we're building towards our second stretch goal, which, as with a lot of Super Best Friend, a lot of inspiration from things I love about comic book. I will say that the next stretch goal will be the reveal of something metallic. Something that might have been very popular in the Spectator market. Because this is my Kickstarter about superheroes, and you know what? I'm going whole hog, man.
You know what? You're right. That's how we bring it back with Kickstarters and, fundraising things. Look, you kickstart this and you will get a trading card, I promise.
That's right. Actually, I will say this. So it's so funny. We were talking about trading cards. So a holographic trading card is one of the stretch goals, but
hot damn.
It is one of the higher stretch goals because one of my favorite trading card series of all time is the 1996 Skybox Superman hologram cards.
Yeah.
And I was only able to ever get one pack of them because my mom thought they were too expensive.
Naturally.
Still have them. So I looked into making a Captain Terrific hologram trading card. It is doable. It's very expensive.
That's what they don't tell you about the trading card market.
Exactly. So it is one of the stretch goals, but I think it's stretch goal. I haven't revealed those stretch goals right now, but I will give you sort of exclusive if that's a thing. Stretch goal number 5 is the hologram trading card because we've got to get that high to get it.
I really hope you get that now because that sounds legitimately super dope. I love everything about that.
I hope so as well.
That's right up there with Donny Cates and Stegman for King in Black. You get the temporary Venom tattoo.
Oh yeah, that was a really good thing. I remember because I'm a Star Trek nerd. When you got the Star Trek Voyager trading cards, they gave you the Chakotay tattoo.
Oh, that's so cool!
Which I thought was so weird yet cool.
Those also kind of gone away, haven't they? The temporary tattoo. That was a boom industry in our youth. You would get them in the gumball machines.
I'm so old that I remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle animated trading cards, they had sticks of gum in them.
Oh man, yeah, friggin' old-timey gum in packs. That's another.
It's always bad. It's always bad.
It was never. It was always brittle. Always fell apart in your mouth. Was always, tasted like drywall. I think they tried to bring that back for baseball cards not too long ago. Like, oh, we got gum back in them again, and also it's terrible gum because of course it is.
Yeah, I mean, but that makes sense, right? It's like, of course, the gum they would throw in the trading, it's just a leftover. They don't care.
Yeah, it's sugar and starch. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Whatever, just like whatever to like make it, make it pop a little bit more.
Yeah, seem a bit more appealing there.
Yeah.
So super best friend. And why, why tell a story, from the POV of a sidekick basically there. Why the sidekick? Why do you love it, and why do you think it is so pervasive in the world of comics that we keep coming back to sidekicks and best friends?
Well, to be quite honest, because when you're writing a story, you should always think about, like, what is the take that you can put on it. And 90% of the time, the take is you as the writer. Your perspective is always going to make it different. And this is very much inspired by my time at DC All Access, my time doing comic book YouTube stuff and looking at that aspect of superhero fandom. Because, yeah, sure, I could have written a story about Captain Terrific, fighting his main villain, who is named Citizen Tyranny. But why do that when you're never gonna beat Marvel and DC? Like, Marvel and DC month in, month out are publishing the best superhero comics around. You can't beat them. I'm sorry, you can't.
The big
Some
two
people
for a
can.
reason.
Yeah, exactly. Every once in a while there's a great story, like Jeff Lemire comes out with Black Hammer and he proves it, or Steve Orlando with Commanders in Crisis. But like 90% of the time, you're not going to beat the big guy. So the way to make that interesting is to tilt the perspective, and by letting it be the sidekick character of Matty Moore and through his viewpoint of Captain Terrific, it makes the story unique, and it makes it more than just the Superman copy story.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely. What other inspirations did you bring to this one too? Again, I love the naming conventions there. Captain Terrific, Citizen Tyranny. There, how did you come to those?
Well, a lot of it, Captain Terrific is 100% inspired by the Silver Age, and I kind of love that he has Captain in the title, because I always thought that was a weird trope in comic books. Like, why would you call somebody Commander X and Captain whatever? And so, actually, fun fact, Captain Terrific is a character from one act I wrote in college.
Oh.
That was like sort of making fun of superheroes, and also it was also about a sidekick. I think it was called Superheroics 101 is what I called it. And so I've always had him in my back pocket. And when I created Matty Moore for this project, that's when I came up with the idea of like, oh no, it needs to be Captain Terrific. That I need to bring this guy out of retirement, and there he is. So once I had Captain Terrific, his main villain, his Lex Luthor, if you will, automatically had to have a similar naming convention because he's also CT.
Oh, there we go.
But he shouldn't have a rank. So instead of Captain, he's Citizen.
Only Citizen, never raised further than that.
Exactly. So like a lot of it was, and if you look back through the Silver Age of comic books, there's a lot of stuff that's exactly like that. That sort of have they have these fun naming conventions, and we don't do that. Most in the big two, they don't do that anymore because they think it's silly. They think it's silly and goofy, like they're trying to be realistic. But to be honest with you, man, I fell in love with Superman and Batman and all those people because of the goofy stuff.
Big agree. It sticks out. Like, again, it's hard to remember a lot of new characters now. It's like, oh yeah, what was their name again? It was something or other. I quite like what Kyle Higgins is doing right now with Radiant Black over at Image, because I'm like, boom, yeah, Radiant Black. That's a name I hear it once and I'm never going to forget it.
Yeah, instead of like, I don't have any good examples. Yeah, but they have become like, the names have become like so real. Like, well, and I like this character. So I mean, no offense to the writers a lot, because I do like this character, but there's not a superhero name for Naomi.
No, it's just Naomi.
Yeah, like I'm like, come on, we could have come up with something.
Yeah, that is an interesting one there. That's like, yeah, your first name.
And I like that. And I like that book.
Yeah, and Naomi getting a big push right now across
Yep.
the board. What has it got? A new TV show coming down the pipeline from CW. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually, I think she's a great character to adapt.
David F. Walker, man, too. You know,
But I also bet you $1 million in that show, they're going to have an episode that like explicitly states why she's called Naomi and why she doesn't have a code name.
Oh, no doubt. That's very, very CW. And also, too, I can maybe understand why Bendis and Walker did. They were saying, no, call her Naomi now, so in a couple of years we can build up to her having a super name. That's what we do.
And if that's where they're going, then I retract my statement. And great job, fellas.
Yeah, that's true. Well, again, I mentioned Virus before too, and Virus was almost like a joke where it's like, okay, we need to invent a new Venom adjacent character, and we've already used up, Riot and Phage and Toxin and everything else. What's left? Virus, I guess. That's lame. Yeah, but it's Gargan in the suit, so he's also lame, so it works.
Yeah, that is one of those things. But I do look. I realize that all the good names are taken.
For real.
I totally understand that. But it's so funny because I would advise writers to go further back to the classics, because it's really this thing where, and I've noticed this, and this is also a comment on modern online fandom, is it really seems that modern online fandom, and this is something I speak to in Super Best Friend, is always concerned with the new.
Yes.
And you know what, man? When you watch a movie that was made in 1940 and it's good.
Wizard of Oz, man, still holds up.
Oh, yeah, dude. I was watching, oh, God, what was it? North by Northwest. Recently.
Yeah.
And that's somewhere in the 60s.
Yeah. That plane bit, man, where it's like, how did they do that back then?
Movie feels like it was made yesterday. That's how good it was. But, like, because it's 1960s and because it doesn't have CGI, like, nobody will care about it. And so this is a very long roundabout to get to the point where I'm like, I think in terms of naming conventions, in terms of creating characters, I would urge new prospective comic book writers and new writers of anything to go back even further. Like, go to the Greek classics, go to Grimm's fairy tales, go to Latin, go find the old stuff, and I guarantee you're going to find a name in there or a naming convention or an idea in there that, people have probably used it before, but it's probably been like 50 years.
True enough. Good example of that, the new Wonder Woman in Future State, Yara Flor. Yara is like Brazilian for water woman, and Flor means flower. That's cool. You put it together, Yara Flor.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, that's really great. That's a great example. I didn't know that. That's awesome. That makes me like the character even more.
Again, see, I try and do research sometimes for my videos. I like things where I have to Google that, where I'm like, okay, well, surely that means something. What does that mean? Okay, that's pretty good.
That is really good. That's really good. What do you like? Do you like Future State overall?
It's funny. I do. What's interesting about Future State, and I was trying to get this in a video, is that some stuff they clearly knew people were going to like before they even started, where it's like, new Batman, we're going to keep doing that even after Future State. We already got John Ridley for 12 issues. It's going to keep going. Yara Flor, she's getting a TV show. We already know people are going to like her from the start, so we're already invested in that. But it's the little stuff. It's almost the backups I like more. Did you read the Arkham Knights? That was really good.
No, I didn't. I haven't been able to read much of Future Knight. I've only been able to read like Next Batman, Nightwing, and the Superman ones.
I just finished Nightwing before we started, actually.
I liked it. I think, man, put Nicola Scott on anything and everything.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
Just eye-poppingly beautiful. Arkham Knights was such a cool, fresh premise where I'm like, oh, God, you got to do this now. It's a team book about, like, all the more morally gray Batman villains like Two-Face and Clayface and Anarchy, like the ones who always kind of had, like, one foot into being good guys anyway. And they're
interesting. And
they're led by, Amadeus Arkham's secret daughter, the Arkham Knight, who had a run, but who isn't the one from the games. Yeah.
I like that Peter Tomasi Detective Comics run with Brad Walker is so underrated.
Absolutely, 100% agree. So she's leading a team of like freaks and killers to fight the Magistrate in this dark future, but unlike Batman, she's actually helping them and being their psychiatrist while fighting crime with them. And I'm like, that is so cool. And such a great gimmick for an anti-Batman who one of the, harshest criticisms of him is always that he's fine beating up the mentally ill and throwing them into broken Arkham. Here's a lady fighting crime and actually trying to help them with their mental problems. And I'm like, whoa, that is good.
Yeah, that is really good. That sounds really great. I'm, speaking of Arkham Knights or something very similar to that, I'm very excited for that new video game, Gotham Knights.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah, we'll have to co-op that. What system are you getting that for? Because we know we need 4 people.
Oh, you can't play it unless you have 4 people?
I mean, I'm sure you can, but they would all be like computer controlled. I think if you want to get the most of it, as is often the case in these games, you got to play it with 4 other human beings.
I'm a PS4 guy, but I've been a PlayStation guy since PlayStation 2.
You and me both, man. Haven't gotten a 5 yet because no one can get a 5 because every scalper bought up every single one.
Well, it's so funny. I considered getting a 5, but there was 2 things against it. One was, at the time, the only game for it was Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And I looked up that PlayStation is doing this really cool thing where you could buy the PS4 version of Miles Morales digitally, and they would automatically just give you the PS5 version, which I was like, oh, great.
Yeah, they're doing that with a couple ones. Control, I think Cyberpunk, and a few other ones you could actually upgrade.
I think the Avengers game is that too, but I heard the Avengers game is not great, so I haven't even played it.
I played it. The story mode is fine, but once you're done that, there's literally nothing left to do.
You're done with it. All right, interesting. But the other thing I heard about the PlayStation 5 was they kind of said, unless you have a 4K TV, there's no point, and I don't have a 4K TV. So
okay, you and me both. Oh my God, we are spiritual twins on this. I have had the same TV basically since I've moved into this place and have had no reason to replace it. But yeah, I'm not going to buy a new expensive console if I can't get the most out of it.
Yes, it's one of those things where like my TV works just fine, and I'm kind of the idea of like, unless I move somewhere and decide to upgrade or it breaks, then I'm just not going to, what's the point?
Same. And also, too, the PlayStation 5 came out at Christmas when I had already pre-ordered and bought a bunch of stuff for the PlayStation 4 anyway. So what's the point of getting a new console if I'm going to be playing my games on the old console? It came out at a bad time.
I'm just going to imagine all the comments furiously going up right now where people are just like, oh, you guys don't know how to live.
Yeah, no, I don't. I admit it.
I'm just like, yeah, I mean, why get rid of something that works?
Yeah. And again, too, and like the PlayStation is the center of my media room and everything. I got Netflix and Amazon and Disney Plus. I run everything off it. It's my everything system.
Yeah, same with mine. Like that's what I like about it, that it's like the one-stop everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my one-stop everything. So when you're not writing super cool comics like this one, what else you doing? You been binge watching anything recently? Seeing any movies?
I'm trying to think about what we've been watching recently. We've been just kind of filling the holes. I mean, I really enjoyed his Dark Materials. That's a really stellar show that a lot of people don't give a lot of attention to.
Didn't check it out. Flew under the radar. There's so much TV right now on so many different apps. It's easy to miss stuff.
There is so much, man. There's almost too much. We actually started Lupin, that French series on Netflix. It's really good.
Yeah. Based on Arsène Lupin, the famous thief. Not the anime version. I know that also came out, but that's a different thing.
See, and that just goes to show me, as the ignorant American, I had no idea about that series. I was like, oh, that's a thing? Cool.
Yeah, I like when there's like fun international stuff there on Netflix that can surprise you.
Yes, I expect we're probably going to see a lot more of that in the next 2 years, because that is how I think all the production companies and all the streaming services are going to fill up the gaps.
Yeah.
Because American stuff can't shoot right now. Everything in Los Angeles right now, we were shooting, and then we shut down before Christmas, and we're going to be shut down until I think mid-February now.
Totally. I'm a big fan of Law & Order SVU. I'm shocked that show was able to come back and film in New York and keep up with the schedule and actually have new episodes every week.
Yeah, and then they're bringing back Christopher Maloney.
I
haven't watched Law & Order in 15 years, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to watch the first couple episodes of the Christopher Maloney show, his spinoff, because I like Christopher Maloney so much.
Agreed. Law & Order SVU, it's the last Law & Order show standing. They canceled all the other ones. It's only SVU
Have they?
now. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is like one of the only times in history it's only been SVU. SVU outlived original Law & Order.
That is crazy, man. I remember when that show premiered.
Same.
And I can remember my parents being like, that'll never last. Who wants to watch the sex crimes?
The sex crime show. Apparently everyone wanted to watch the sex crime show.
Apparently more people want to watch sex crimes than any other crime.
Again, it's riveting television, and the fact that like Ice-T and Mariska Hargitay have been on the show for so long, like the longest tenured detectives in the stories they've been able to tell with them over the years.
Well, I mean, think about it, though, and I can tell you exactly the reason why, is that, one, in Hollywood, the thing that is the hardest thing ever is a steady paycheck.
Oh, yeah.
And working on a broadcast network show means you're doing about 22 episodes a year.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing weekly paycheck. Second, because you're a broadcast show, usually your shows go into syndication.
Yes.
Or usually your episodes get repeats.
They sure do.
So that means that all the actors and the writers and the directors get payments every time it's repeated or every time it's shown in syndication. So when you have a show, and I have a story about Arrow after this. When you have a show about like Law and Order, which is very rare. Like usually streaming shows is 13 episodes, you're done. You're lucky if you get a third season. You don't get any royalties really for anything on streaming. So like those actors are like, man, why am I going to give up this easy paycheck? And the royalties are amazing.
It gets even better because Hargitay's a producer on the show now.
Yeah, and I know she moved her up weight, so she gets even more, man. So I remember I once talked to one of the writers of Arrow, and this was in like the second to last season. I think I talked to him in like season 7, and I asked him, I was like, oh, like, you know, like, because he had been on the show for a long time, and I was like, why are you like, why did you stick around with Arrow, like no other jobs? Or what are you going to do I'm sorry, my question was, what are you going to do next after Arrow, was the thing I asked him. And he was like, I don't know, I might retire. Because he's like, Arrow, he's like, Arrow went to TNT and it got syndicated. And he's like, man, I'm making like $100,000 a year off of those syndication paychecks.
That's amazing. Holy shit. I guess that's why Stephen Amell didn't rush in to do anything else after Arrow. He
didn't need to.
No.
TNT is just running Arrow like all the damn time, man.
He did fun things he wanted. He wrestled at All Out. He had a freaking wrestling match against Christopher Daniels and got put through tables.
Yeah. I still wonder if I know they're shooting that show, but I still wonder if we'll see heels. I have a weird feeling that show will never complete.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know why, but I have that feeling.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out about that. Man, wow, the Arrow show, that's successful. That's amazing. Good for them.
Again, and all because Arrow, like Flash, shot about 22 episodes a year.
Yep.
It is a broadcast network, but also it's the syndication thing. That is the income model that streaming is getting rid of. The writers and directors of WandaVision, they ain't gonna get jack.
No,
they'll only get those royalty paychecks if they put that on Blu-ray or DVD, which I think they will.
Yeah, which that's a weird thing too. Sometimes you feel weird trying to track down the Blu-ray DVD of shows you like Doom Patrol. I'm like, hey, I really like this show. Did they do commentary? Did they do behind the scenes on the DVDs? Because I would like to watch that action. Then it's like, where do I go to buy DVDs anymore? I have not bought a DVD in 100 years.
Yeah, I always thought that too. Where I remember back in the day where Netflix had their first batch of Netflix exclusive series, and then they put them out on DVD, and I was like, aren't you like kind of killing the exclusivity of why I want to buy Netflix?
Yeah, sure feels that way, man. I remember I was like so militant back in the day where it's like, no, I will continue to buy physical media because that's the only way that I own something. And now I'm 3 streaming services deep and I'm like, this is fine. This is fine. Sometimes Netflix loses shows, but then, you know, Amazon gets them. So it's fine.
I only buy like Blu-rays now of things that I am a huge fan of, or things that I'm like, if I never want a chance them removing this permanently from any service. So those are the things that I buy Blu-rays of. I bought the Blu-ray set of Batman Beyond.
Ah, so good.
Because they've like taken that and added to that and taken it and added it so many times where I was like, to hell with you guys. I'm going to make sure that I can always watch Batman Beyond whenever I want to, because I love that one.
Totally. Even Disney Plus is weirdly incomplete and stuff too, where it's like, hey, what about Fillmore? I would love a DVD quality version of Fillmore, or Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. That was a shockingly good show for its time. Can I have some of that? And Disney's like, maybe it's in our archive, so we'll have to send an intern to go get it.
That's so funny, man. Oh God, Buzz Lightyear
of Star Command.
You talking about the Patrick Warburton show?
Yes.
What do you think about the weird Chris Evans Buzz Lightyear origins film?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because when I saw that there, and I'm just like, hey, you did this once. It was called Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, where it's like, here's the story of the real guy that the toy is based on.
Well, maybe they'll lift a lot of the stuff.
Man, I hope they bring back the lady who could phase through stuff, who was voiced by, Mo Collins from Mad TV.
Oh, weird. Seriously?
Yes, I remember really enjoying that character because I was a big Mad TV fan, so I loved the connection.
I remember Mo Collins. I just had no idea that they were on that show.
No,
man.
sorry,
Wow.
not Mo Collins, the other lady, the one who was always in sketches with her.
Oh, I couldn't tell you who that was. I don't know.
Oh, God, this is going to bother me.
I know Key and Peele were on Mad TV.
Yes, they were. Man, there was a time there at the end when they had, like, lost almost all the originals and, like, all the other, like, lifers for Mad TV, and the last few seasons of Mad TV was basically just proto Key and Peele because they were in every sketch.
Yes, yeah, they were in every single. I mean, when they first popped off in that show, I mean, my first statement about them was, I was like, oh, hey, it's the guys from Mad TV.
Yeah, but Mad TV always carried like this, weird stigma with it, where it's like, oh, it's not Saturday Night Live, it's not been around for 50 years, it's not the thinking man's show, and I'm like, yeah, but I still like it, and it's on at 11, so I can watch like half an hour of it, then switch over to Saturday Night Live, and then if Saturday Night Live is bombing, I could switch back.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally.
Yeah. Yes, kids, back when we switched over, when we watched things live on television and not the next day.
Or you had to go to Channel 3.
Yeah, destination viewing. We don't do that anymore.
No, and it's so funny because that is part of, you talking about the modern online fandom.
Mm-hmm.
I make fun in a light and jovial way. I'm
Naturally.
not, look, if you want to do this, whatever. Do what makes you happy, man, within reason.
Nicole Sullivan was the actress. There we go. I figured that out.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I punch holes a little bit at people that like binge an entire series that stay up till midnight and then watch the entire episode, because to me, I'm like,
that couldn't have been fun for you.
No, and in the world of streaming television, we don't have to live our lives by a television show anymore.
Exactly.
Whereas before, when I was in college, man, I would be like Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. I'm watching Lost. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come hang out with you at the bar after Lost, but I will be there for Lost.
You and me both, man. I spent a lot of my life with that, and boy, it sure was worth it in the end, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, you shouldn't look at your life that way. I mean,
no,
just like,
no.
Did you enjoy it? Like,
I did.
Yeah.
I literally enjoyed it until the last 15 minutes when I'm like, oh my God, they're not going to hit the landing on this one. They're not going to hit the landing on this.
Oh, see, I disagree. This is a completely different 1 hour long podcast. I actually think the ending of Lost is a well written episode.
Admittedly, I have not thought about it I don't remember being mad is the thing. Like, I wasn't mad at it like other people was. I'm like, oh, well, that's the end, I guess. There you go. It's funny that ending aired like the same night as like the 24 finale. So I know there was like
really?
Yes, that was the same night as the 20. Well, the first time 24 ended, I know it came back.
24 has ended like 3 times now.
It was the first time 24 ended. So I remember that was a big thing in my house of people fighting over televisions. They'd be like, okay, I'll watch this in this room, you watch that in that room. And we'll figure it out. And we'll both come together and compare notes later about it.
That's so funny. It's so funny because I'll bring up Lost is the one that a lot of people like to, poke holes at, where they're like, oh, the ending doesn't answer everything. And it's so funny because there's another show that I love that I think doesn't answer a damn thing, but nobody talks about it. And that is Battlestar Galactica. Because if you sit through the entire finale of Battlestar Galactica, and it's a well-written show, and I like that finale as well, they don't answer anything.
No, yeah, I know that was the thing.
But everybody talks about how Lost didn't answer anything. And I'm like, Battlestar Galactica never told you nobody ever told us what the Cylon's plan was. And it's literally in the opening credits.
I had a lot of friends who were deep into Battlestar Galactica. I never took that plunge, but then boy, were they so angry at the end. And they're like, look, if you ever do this, just like watch till season 3, then make up your own ending.
Yeah. A lot of people could say that about Lost as well. But it's always one of these things of like, if the show in any episode made you laugh, made you cry, made you feel something, same with the comic book, same with the movie.
Agreed.
Can you really call it a garbage fire? I don't think you can.
No.
Because it worked. Because like I will say, me as a writer, I'm always like, if I get you once, then I won.
If I get totally agree.
Once, for one panel or even one page or even one dialogue balloon, I got you. I won.
And Lost had a lot of that. We got to go back. It's not Penny's boat.
Not
all this
Penny's
other
boat. The Constant. I still think The Constant is the greatest episode of television ever made.
It is really, really freaking good. It's definitely the best episode of Lost. And it's so good that you could probably show it to someone who has no knowledge of Lost, and they'd still think it was pretty good.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I've shown that episode to several people blind that had no information, and they'd be like, "That's a good episode."
Yeah, it's like the what's the Doctor Who equivalent of it? The one with the weeping angels, where it's like, look, you can just
Blink.
watch. Yeah, Blink. It's like, here, you can just watch Blink, even if you've watched nothing else, and it's still just really good science fiction.
Yes, totally. Blink is a great episode of that, and Doctor Who has a bunch of examples of that.
Totally. And well, at that point, everyone, I don't think we can do much better than drudging up the memories of Lost and what it meant to
We
us.
went in a big circle on this episode, my friend.
We
and
did.
I loved it.
I love it too. I love that
We kind of covered everything.
Totally. See, this is why I love when you're on, Jason, because no two interview is ever alike with you.
Yep.
So, yes, everyone, be sure to check Jason out on all the social media feeds. I will be sure to link you to Super Best Friend. Check that out. Check out the stretch goals. I want the trading cards, everyone. I want that to be a thing. Make that happen.
Pump us there, everybody.
Totally. So, again, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Jason, thank you for coming and talking
Thanks
with us.
for having me, man. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, always a pleasure to talk to you, too. And we'll be back again next time. Same comic multiverse time, same comic multiverse place. So until then, everyone, bye-bye.